I am love. I am peace. I am free. I have abundance. I have everything within me. For I was, for I am, for I always be. We are love. We are peace. We are free. We have abundance. We have everything within us. For we are, for we will always be. For Mother Earth is love. For Mother Earth has peace. For Mother Earth is free. For Mother Earth has abundance. For Mother Earth has everything within her. For she was, for she is, for she will always be. And so it is spoken, so it has been written, and it is done.
You have entered into a dimension of truth where time does not exist and illusions are shattered. The journey of truth is intense. The journey of truth will set you free. Consider this a warning as you enter the dimension of truth uncompromised.
All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is February 27th. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We are continuing our series. Wow, y'all, I can't believe we're on the 17th episode of this series, The Real Pilgrams, the true story of immigrants coming to America. So part 17. So I am really excited about tonight. Last week, we got into one of the quote founding fathers, Andrew Jackson. We need to finish up with him. And of course, I had to pull other supplement material on him because, him and how he kind of stripped the indigenous folks, our ancestors, from their land was something else. But the main two references that I am using for this series, one is called White Trash, the 400-Year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg. And again, a wonderful shout out to this author. This book was on the New York Times bestsellers list, although, of course, it doesn't still get the promotion that it should get. Quite honestly, it should be taught in universities, but we know they ain't going to do that. The second reference is they were white and they were slaves, the untold history of enslavement of whites in early America. So before I bring on my co-host, Brother Sean and Sis, I do want to send a shout out to everyone. Of course, tonight, Blog Talk, if you're going to jump in the chat, for whatever reason tonight, I can't communicate, but YouTube seems to be up and running. We're doing well, so you're welcome to jump on YouTube and chop it up with the family in the chat. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Seeking My Creator. Of course, my boy, Scotty Saturn, Ride or Die. Shout out to Helenese. And, in the building, Sis Cheryl, our wise one, is in the building. Okay, family. So with that said, let me bring on my co-host. Oh, what, Scotty? You bought the book? Oh, dang. Okay. Okay, cool. So you gotta, as you're reading it, you know you gotta put something on your perspective on stuff that we went over for sure, for sure. Cool, Scotty. All right. Let me bring on my co-host with the mostest. Let me bring on Sis Sandra, and then I'm going to bring on Brother Sean. Peace and love, Sis. How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you. Peace and love to you, Sister Rhonda. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. It's good to hear your voice.
Same here to you as well. It's good to hear yours.
Yeah, I thought about you, girl. Remember, I said I had an article last week on PG&E about them going to in bankruptcy, but we didn't have time. This, that, and the third.
Right.
Well, I'm minding my business. Try la 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 la. And then the movie, that Aaron Brockovich chick came on.
Yeah.
Girl, I didn't know that was PG&E, because, you know, when it came out back in the... Yeah, girl, when I rewatched the movie, and I'm like, oh, hell to the no. This was their asses involved in that. I just shook my head, girl.
Well, you know, I don't know. You know, California feeds the nation, right? And for some reason, we're the center of utility issues all the time, I guess.
Yes.
So, you know,
yeah.
like Trump was here last week, and they're fighting over the water. So
yeah, that's been going on a long time, though, in Cali with that water situation.
Some of this stuff is like back to movies. Was that 90s? In the 90s, Aaron Brockovich?
Yeah, I think that was the 90s.
Yeah, so, I mean, they can't seem to figure out who's going to get the wealth of the valley that grows the food. And so, I don't know. I can't even hardly remember this so long ago.
Yeah, so when you get a chance, go back and check it out. I was just shaking my head like, whatever. Let me bring on Brother Sean. All right. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
Wholeness and power, sis. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. It's good to hear your voice.
Likewise. Sis Sandra.
All right.
Blessed brother, and yourself?
I'm here.
Good. Oh, hey, I know that's right. Above the ground. Yep. And to the family, too. I forgot to say hey to them myself.
Yeah, and shout out again to YouTube, and shout out to all that's on the phone. So hopefully YouTube all is well. Y'all don't know how many times, how many videos I had to go look up to try to get, okay, cool, Scotty, to try to get the damn thing to work. This technology is so low level, but, you know, hey, it is what it is. Okay. So we are going to go ahead on with the fuckery. So, sis, you have any, go ahead on with the fuckery for the family?
I just look at what we're dealing with right now, and it's pretty intense what they're talking about with that corona virus. And of course, the elections are always crazy because they always lying. They tell half truths in their speeches and stuff, but
right.
I mean, they're talking about this may be a pandemic, and the Asians are getting beat up and harassed, but they can't help who they are, and that this either the Mother Nature is cleansing this planet of the invaders, or they released this and did not consider the fact that they got the same DNA. Maybe they didn't know it. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it is going to. They're talking about watching the United States now because they have this guy in San Francisco, or girl, whoever, this person, and they had no travel connected to theirs. So I'm like, uh-oh. So, but see, and that proves the fact that it is not specific to any particular place on the planet, but it can be pandemic, like they're saying that it may become. It's an eye opener. I'm just grateful that we know who we are, and you have to know your own ancestor, right? Because a lot of people don't know who they are, but see, that also impacts our recreation. I haven't even gone on that vacation yet. It's going to impact all of that. You can't even go out of the country because of the fact that other countries are not taking you. You don't want to go into some countries because you may get there and they lock that down. You can't get back home.
Right. But I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
I was about to say it's a problem. That's all I was going to say.
Well, here's my thing. First of all, now this is just my lowly opinion. This is Rhonda's opinion. It just seemed to me that this was planned. I think the virus was released. This is just me. I think that it was released in China. I got to sitting down thinking about it. China's economy is shot, y'all. They really had a collapse like 2008, and surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, it was over the same thing, housing, where they speculated all of these housings, and you can go on YouTube and look up the ghost cities, and the government had to put in a lot of money and bail out the economy. So they still have all of that real estate, literally cities that are sitting empty and decaying. So I think that's one of the reasons that they released it in China first, because China was prepped to be the next quote, quote, economic world power. And I think anything that they try to stand up, it's not working. It's just not working. So from an economic standpoint, I think that, the energies in the ethers are just shutting that shit down. So I think that it's a distraction for the economy, and it's damn sure a distraction of the universal things that are going on regarding the pole shift. So that's just my opinion, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
007 was talking about China is positioned to take military dominance, and the United States has to do something about it. And that's what his video was not too long ago before this, I think the first time it was mentioned, and or was it before it was mentioned, this corona. And he was talking about the United States is going to have to do something about it. I said, what you going to do about it? I said to myself, what you going to do about it? You can't tell them to stop building their missiles. You can't tell them to build their tanks. What you going to do about it? And,
right.
So, so when you say that, what you going to do about it, what can I say? You may be right. But,
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Scientists feel it's about the same way. Excuse me, because they mentioned the fact that it was probably released there by accident. Like the, what's this? SARS was released over there by accident, too. How many accidents can you have? But
right, H1N1. I think that one's related to the bird flu, if I'm not mistaken. So they can get the hell on with that bullshit. But and shout out to Sis Lisa. in the chat, she said Dr. Jewel Pookum posted on Instagram an article stating Chinese doctors confirm African skin resists the coronavirus infection. Yeah, I didn't see that from Dr. Pookum, but I saw it somewhere else, and I just personally cracked up.
I saw it. I heard about it. I don't know if it was his or not, but they had one melanated man sitting on a bed. I don't know if that's the one where he was resistant to it. They went over in Africa and did that Ebola and tried to kill them all up out there. Remember? So trying, and they killed us with smallpox on the blanket. So we have to say, hey, thank you. We're resistant to that one because they did manage to kill quite a few of us when they brought that smallpox and put it on the blankets.
Right. Indeed. And shout out to Sis Hope in the chat room. All right, then, Brother Sean, you have any go ahead on with the fuckery for the family?
Well, you know that was perfectly timed. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right behind the trade.
Yeah.
Also, if Lysol kill it in the air and on surface.
Exactly.
They got a cure for it. That's why Trump ain't worried at all.
I think I saw that too on a commercial on AT&T where they said Lysol and what is the other one? Clorox?
Yeah, and there's another one. I can't think of the other disinfectant. Damn it, I can't think of it. But anyhow, when I posted it on Facebook, I posted a video that this brother had put on YouTube showing it on the back of the Lysol can. And because I got the video from Sis Cheryl, and then I went and got my own personal Lysol cans. Because I bought my cans, I re-upped and bought my cans this year. And sure enough, it was there, including with the H1N1 virus too. So I just posted the brother's video on Facebook, and then they gonna flag my shit as false information. So now you gonna tell me you saw on television they saying that Lysol kills it.
I saw it on AT&T or currently AT&T Yahoo. Yeah, I saw it. I started laughing because I know that you had put it up there. Now it's trying to sneak in mainstream.
Right. Child, I came with these people.
Well, you can't say it. You have to say it for anybody to believe it anyway. So.
Indeed.
It's unfortunate that's the way it works.
Yeah. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
It's war. I mean, what else do you expect? But government of the people, for the people, by the people. He's allegedly trying to give it back to the people. You know, let's say he's successful and gives the corporation to the people. What karma comes with that? It's still a corporate system, right?
Right.
He's still the corporate president, right?
Right.
He's just implementing a new seal, so to speak.
Exactly. Changing it up like we read in that Georgia charter, yes.
Did you know they're trying to ask questions of should Washington, D.C. be considered a state?
They've been saying that for a minute, though.
Yeah, they got the survey out again on that one.
No, but their lease is up.
Huh?
Their lease
is up.
It's up.
Oh, that's what it is, huh? Because they only had a certain period of time. So I think it's going to be the 52nd state or something.
No, the whole system had a certain amount of time, Period.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Been up.
Yep. It has.
We just still been asleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we don't watch this play out because they at each other. So I'm going to enjoy this.
Big
the Dems, the ones that released that coronavirus, everything on the line for them is over.
It is. So this is the big decision, probably, because I think they had two, and I don't know if they did, but I thought about it. You know, I'm like, who's going to progress or profit from this? You know, you have to follow the money, so to speak. You got to figure out who's going to do what.
It's about fear.
Yeah, it is.
They don't give a fuck about money right now.
It's profit. Mm-hmm. The fear.
Everything is on the line. People that still thinking about money, you lost. It's soul snatching time.
Exactly. Because they just trying to re-up contracts, spiritual / soul contracts with folks. Mm-hmm. They want folks to agree to oppression. Because like you said, Brother Sean, because the time is up. That low-level frequency is up. And so those that are in tune and are awake are like, get the fuck on with it. We're tired of this 3D low vibrational bullshit. If you feel you need to be led by someone, and if you feel you need to lead someone and all that bullshit, y'all got to get the fuck up off mama with that. Y'all got to go on with the bullshit. We're over it. We're done. The age has moved on. Mother Earth, it has awakening. It's over. It is literally over. Now, I do want to say, shout out, Sis Cheryl hit me to this brother, and he's only on Facebook. He puts out videos. The videos I saw are a couple of months old, but I encourage you. He really hits hard, and he brings a lot of ancient knowledge. The way his things are put together, I know that he's getting it from the spiritual realm, and it's a lot of the same stuff we've been saying for years. But his name is Rod Hayes, RODHAYES. I highly recommend it. I've only seen the brother on Facebook. I highly recommend you link up and listen to his Facebook videos. I put them on a Truth Uncompromised Facebook page, and he pretty much consistently says the same thing we've been saying, that Mother Earth, it's cleanup time, and contracts are up. And I love what he said, because I always say, take that motherfucking shit to Mars, get the fuck on with it. And I love the last video that I caught of him. He pretty much told folks that he can arrange your motherfucking transportation off the planet. So I highly encourage you to go and listen to that brother's Facebook lives. He really laid it out. So I'm sorry, Brother Sean. Go ahead. I didn't mean to hijack your stuff. I just wanted to get that in.
You know how we do it.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, our people can't fall for the bullshit, though, again. You got to let all that go. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be the change that you want. You say you're tired of colonizers, you're tired of the system, then don't fuck with them. It's that simple. There are no lawful contracts. Period. It's all bullshit. You give it life.
Right.
You do it to yourself. Stop it. It's fuckery.
Yep.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead, sis. Okay, go ahead, sis. Did you have something to put on it?
Oh, speaking of that, brother, our people need to just sit back and watch it happen and stop emoting and jumping on Asians and beating them up and all this kind of stuff. They won't even take people into Chinatown or they want to kind of like quarantine Chinatown. But it's not a fight. The universe is taking this fight. And if you got it all together, you don't even have anything to worry about. They said the melanin is encapsulated in the cells, and it won't get in the cells. And like you said, that Chinese said that the doctor said that one melanated dark skin, or he called it Africans, are immune to it,
right,
or resistant to it. That's what they say, resistant to it. So, our people need to just kind of get educated and listen to the people talking about it and stop going out there, because they showed a video, let's see, that was on the Real, and they were attacking this Asian elder, and he was, picking up cans and stuff, and they attacked him and stuff because he was Asian. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, our people need to wake up and smell the coffee, get some knowledge about what the earth is doing for them, instead of putting themselves in harm's way, because all they're going to do is do some time in somebody's jailhouse because they're messing with this, with elders and trying to beat up people because they're Asian. Just leave these people alone. And
right.
Count yourself fortunate. That's all you have to do. Just count. I can't use the word blessings, but count your fortune. And leave other people
right.
to whatever the universe says for them.
And what's interesting to me, again, and that's why I like that brother Rod Hayes, and shout out to Sis Cheryl for dropping that video, because melanated people have slept for so long that they're fighting to stay asleep.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's literally like they don't want the responsibility. They want the benefits of quote freedom, but you don't want any of the responsibility. It doesn't work like that. It's not anyone's responsibility but our own. We are the caretakers of Mother Earth.
Right.
It is our responsibility. And all of this fuckery, the finger pointing to everybody except those that look like us, that shit is over with too. Ain't nobody getting no pass, ain't no motherfucking hiding, none of that. Either you gonna get up off your motherfucking ass and clean up yourself, clean up your bloodline, make a contribution to Mother Earth, or you gonna get the fuck on. You gonna be purged.
Yeah.
Hey, sis.
Uh-huh.
But them fuckers are everywhere, pretending to be everybody. They were the first colonists, and they were melanated.
Right. Yep.
They got lighter over the years, but they were melanated.
Absolutely. The conquistadors, all that bullshit.
So, these pale ones, are they mutant children?
I said that shit last week.
They're a problem like their ancestors was. It's
exactly.
Just them, period. It's just
exactly.
the way they cut.
Yep.
They parasites.
Yep. Absolutely.
Look at all the things they do. So,
Yep.
Anything that they get is karmatic debt. They don't care what they do to each other.
Mm-hmm.
True.
We ain't got nothing to defend but us.
Absolutely.
People that act out, they probably came back here for that. Some people came back here for war.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do. Ain't nobody stopping nothing from happening to us.
Nope.
So, hey, they do what they do. They shouldn't be here. If they wasn't here, this shit wouldn't happen.
Right.
So, I mean, that was their choice. You squatting on somebody else's land.
Yep. Yep. You know, I was everybody know that I love John Levy's work on YouTube. So one of his old videos popped up from a few little years ago, and shit, I should have wrote down where he was at. He took a road trip. Was it Idaho? Oh, let me not even try. I don't want to F it up, y'all. I have to get it for you. But anyhow, on the road trip, he was showing where they're calling some of these ancient trails wagon trails. So he walked the trail and filmed it with his dog. Him and his little dog walked the trail, and literally you can see where a lot of those rocks would look like ancient trees to me, and holes in the side where that wasn't made from no damn wagon. It looks like some type of device. So I was reading the comments, and I kind of knew what it was. As soon as he showed it, I kind of knew what it was and started getting emotional. And I was reading the comments, and folks were saying that was some type of machinery, some ancient machinery that was used, and they were excavating. And that's the first thing that came to my mind when he was showing this particular area, that when the vibratory frequency of Mother Earth fell, it was because these other beings that are invaders, they are not from here, came here mining or terraforming her. And when they terraformed her, it put her to sleep, per se. She was injured. And then in addition, the people that are her children, our vibratory rate, we fail as well. So I was just emotional, because you think about the trauma that has happened on Mother Earth. And if you're not familiar with all of the ancient texts, because I don't just stick with one particular ancient text, I look at all of them and compare it and, use my discernment, throw in and throw out what I feel is relevant. But when Brother Wendell and I did the series on the ancient myths, and you can go on YouTube. We spent quite a while on that. I want to say 6 months on that. And when we were going through the different ancient texts, will never forget. Mm-hmm. I think it was in the Lost Book of Enki, which is a hell of a book, by the way, because you can take the Lost Book of Enki and you can line it right up with that goddamn Bible. Mm-hmm. And it will tell you in the Lost Book of Enki, when they're speaking about Lord this, God that, it will fucking tell you who the Anunnaki being they were referring to or who was speaking. But anyhow, I think it came out of the Lost Book of Enki, where, and this was where Brother Wendell was recapping this, because I love how he role too. He's like me. He goes to get extra supplemental information and bring it in, extra research. So he said, and I had read this already in the Terra Papers, another ancient text, where Mother Earth was the most beautiful across galaxies. Mm-hmm. So her and her crew and her solar systems, her energies or planets, as folks want to call them, were the shit across other galaxies. So other galaxies had fucked up their stuff, was warring, stripping their resources, this, that, and the third, and wanted to come and get gold from her. She like, no, you can get the fuck on with that. You're not coming over here with that. Y'all not peaceful motherfuckers. I'm not putting my people through that, this, that, and the third. So she had her folks with her that would protect, and they were powerful. So these motherfuckers from this other realm ganged up on her to take her down, talking about something because she wouldn't share. Okay, and so I never forget, Brother Wendell. I said I kind of figured some funk ass quote quote male deities from another realm came over here fucking with her to take her down. And I remember Brother Wendell, and I disagreed. He was like, well, she wouldn't share. I was like, fuck that. She don't have to share. They fucked up their own stuff. So long story short, where I'm going with this, it's those same type of energies and deities that came through our particular realm and started the excavation of her body, stripping and mining of the natural resources and minerals, and all of the wars broke out with the scalar technology and slight cutting down or excavating and cutting down those big ancient ass trees. A lot of war and turmoil has gone on Mother Earth, and it has been quote quote reset or destroyed several times. And that's one thing I like about John Levy's channel, and it's a couple other people that do an excellent job where they are showing you the residue of ancient wars that went on with the melting of the rocks and this, that, and the third. So all of that trauma we're in the process. Of course, Mother Earth is the main driver of cleaning all of that up. All of it. So, yes, it is a huge panic on Mother Earth and her surrounding territories of all of these entities that have kept all of us enslaved, her people. They know they have to get the fuck on or be destroyed. They want to try to hold on, but they already know that it's not going to work. So these entities, like Brother Sean say, and I call them demigods, because anytime you can't fucking stand on your own and you're not a creator, you have to cipher energy. You are a demigod. You're not a motherfucking god. You're the lower G. All right? They know that it's up. So all they're trying to do is cipher other energies so they can keep feeding. But if they stay, it is literally extinction level events that will happen. So to me, that's the huge thing that is going on, that all of this other fuckery that they're putting in the face of the populace is hiding what's really, 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 really going on. So, all right, I'll pause in case somebody wants to put something on it.
You're right. They're working really hard to get off this planet. They're working real hard.
And like Brother Rod said, goddamn it, arrangements can be motherfucking made. Get the fuck on.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but
all right.
You know, it's gonna be a lot of deaths or
agreed.
Death, all
agreed.
to get people's emotions.
Yep.
Right now, they just after your emotions. That's the greatest energy drain.
Yes, it is.
The perverted concept of love that we've been given. Loving any and everything outside itself. Even taught to love your enemy. But, you know, that's what y'all like to do. Y'all emotional. You haven't mastered yourself.
Indeed.
You worried about everything and everybody but you. Your journey is about you.
That's right.
They about to throw this bullshit at you. All
big
of
time.
It at one time.
Yep.
And if your mind is weak and your soul ain't grounded, you fucked.
Yep.
You ain't got nobody to blame but you.
That's right.
You've been with you all day, every day.
That's right.
And you don't know who you are? They ain't got nothing to do with that. They thought forms. They just put the thought in your head. And you
That's
do
right.
it. Or they write it down.
Right.
And put that spell on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you go along with it. You do it all to yourself and blame everybody else. You're the creator. You're the God, goddess.
Indeed.
You say this. Y'all say that y'all gods and goddesses. But all you do is sit up and complain. You ain't creating shit.
Nope.
You worried about paperwork that you're not in control of.
Yep.
It's not like you're writing a spell and casting it on them.
Exactly.
You begging for something with their spells. How's that working?
Indeed.
You. It's all about you. You knowing you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said, Brother Sean. All right, so I am going to get into, I had a quick clip. Damn, if I can find it, find the name of it, y'all. I can't find it, so I might have to move on and do it next week. I really wanted y'all to hear it too. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead if you want to put something on it while I try to find this clip.
As you talk, I'm looking at this pecan family on Dateline, and they moved into Texas, and they took the land because they said there was nobody here. I'm like, Texas? For real? And they got this big, giant pecan family thing and selling the pecans, and their energies are bad, and so they didn't kill somebody. That's Dateline, you know how Dateline is about murder stuff. Who did that?
Girl, they so Dateline so motherfucking depressing. I can't do it. But go ahead, sis.
The matriarch of the family was murdered, and she was missing, and then I guess they found her murdered. I didn't see it all, but it just, it just really kind of interested me that they said that they came to that land in that place, and there was nobody there, so they just took it, like squatters.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're learning very well what squatters mean. So, so and again, dirty ass melanated folks. I'm identifying you not by skin but by bloodline. Same thing with Caucasian folks. I'm identifying you not by skin but by bloodline and the way you roll, because I can't sit up here and say all Caucasian people are low down and wrong. That would be ignorant on my part. But I'm going to say this: as Caucasians, you are learning this information. Now you have to dig deep within self and learn who you are, where you came from, and you have to make a decision also. Because like I've discussed before, taking on titles and land that is not yours by birthright, you take on the associated karma with that. And now we are at that point. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I purposely did the series on the black nobility and this particular series on the Real Pilgrams, showing folks about the white slavery and how all of this stuff has taken place. So everyone is aware. And I am telling you, white Caucasian folks, you are in that position because of dirty, low vibrational, melanated beings put you in that position. And they put you in that position for the purpose of being the goddamn scapegoat, for you to be the boogeyman. All right? So now, if you're running across this information, it's up to you to get your house in order, because no one can hide anymore. And the time of rulership that you were given, that's over. That is literally over. So dig deep, and hopefully you don't get caught in the crossfire with the fuckery. So I'm sorry, go ahead on, sis.
I was watching Young Pharaoh for the first time. I watched him on his video. It's about an hour and 30 minutes on this video. And, he went through all of what we go through with some genetic facts of some of the EGGs, who they are, and how they created, or I guess it's created or invented the power of folks to do their job and to, like you just said, take the fall. And now I look at some of these parents.
Wait a minute, the EGG, run that back again, what you said about the EGG. I'm sorry, sis.
He was talking about the Anunnaki. And he was talking about...
So who did the Anunnaki create to do what?
The Europeans. See, they created him. He said his creation theory was they were created with dog, monkey, and what was the other one? They didn't say bird, but I know they were made with bird.
Right.
Ooh. Huh?
Okay. Yeah, because they were grafting. They funky asses. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was talking about that, and he had a scientific person, a guy with a British accent, who was telling people exactly this stuff. And my cell phone died on me, and I don't have the ability to show it to you. But Their scientists is telling it now. And I said,
Nation of Islam have been saying that for years.
Yeah, in their defense. Yeah, they have. The NOI. In their defense, they really have. They have been saying it for years. And now we know. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
I'm saying one of the European scientists is saying it. And they have genetic facts to prove it. And they had a conference of some type and an interview between two of the scientists. It was a man and a female. And young Pharaoh has that video out there. I don't know if it's recent. He said he's been telling us this stuff for 5 years, and nobody is listening to it. But maybe you'll listen to it if your own tell you the thing. I sat up there and told, like, yeah, that's what they said. So
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, Scotty Saturn dropped in the chat room, and the other element was the fish. And I said, because that's the Inky connection, remember?
Yeah.
That's why they identify with the motherfucking Inky situation with Inky coming up out the water, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I totally forgot about that. And all of that information about grafting and creating of other beings happening on in other realms, you can find that in all of those ancient texts. All of them. Now they may switch up who was there, but they're all consistently saying that happened, that the Anunnaki created a slave race to mine for gold because they motherfucking funk asses didn't want to do it. Right, they didn't want to do it. So, again, all of that was transpiring after they came over in this realm and overthrew Mother Earth and started excavating her natural resources, okay? Now, some want to lump everyone into the category that the Anunnaki created all of us. Well, no, that's not the case, sweetheart. That's not the case. And plus, that's not what the DNA and RNA doesn't say that.
That's right.
So no, it doesn't say that.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what he was saying. And they have the groups of the RNA or the DNA variables on the screen and showed the differences that we had versus them. And that's how they figured out that we weren't the same people.
Right.
We have
Right. We have different origins. That's all. We just have different origins.
You know, we have different diets, and he brought that up. You see, and this is bringing me back to Genesis. I'm going to tell you this. Genesis was told in the beginning when our people, the melanated people, were part first. And he told us to eat seeds and fruits and from the land. So in chapter 9, this is when they showed up. It could be chapter 9. Because in chapter 9 of Genesis, they turned around and said you could eat meat. Well, he was going over the different blood types that we have, young Pharaoh was, and that we're basically chlorophyll people, plant-based people. And where they are iron. You know, and so one of the things that happened to me, remember I told you that doctor overdosed me and I kicked off. And one of the things I had already done about 3 years in advance was take chlorophyll. I took lots of chlorophyll. Every day I took some chlorophyll. I had no clue what I was taking it for. I just had the information to take it. The internal information that was given to me to take it. So when I figured it out, chlorophyll will filter poisons. It filters monoxides, carbon dioxide, all kinds of poisons. So my body had already changed to a chlorophyll form in my blood versus the iron that would have held on to the poison because the ions were magnetized to each other. So when he was talking about that, I started laughing because I had already figured it out. And he said what different diets that we should have because the fact that we are made from this planet and they're not.
That's interesting. That's real. Who was saying all this again?
It was young Pharaoh.
Oh, okay, that was young Pharaoh. Okay, but in that particular video, young Pharaoh referenced a Caucasian man that was breaking down. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. In the chat said, and we talked about this book last week. The Moor, the Mason, and the Alien.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he said that's what they were. The Moors were the EGGs.
Right. Okay, sis, let me get it out. Hold on. So the Moor, the Mason, and the Alien by Robert Smith, or Richard Smith. I think it's Richard Smith. Richard Smith goes into depth on the Inky theory. Yeah, we talked about that book last week. I actually had that book. I get to reading it. But, yeah, definitely check that out. Richard Smith, that's the author's name. He also has YouTube videos out there. And shout out to that man. He's a Caucasian man, and he goes in on his own. And to be honest, like I said last week, he puts a lot of blame on his own that I'm saying that they're not responsible for, because that particular melanated bloodline, if you want to tie it to the Moors, the dirty Moors, put them up to do the fuckery. Now, ultimately, still Caucasians will be held accountable for sure for their part. But yeah, check out Richard Smith's The Moor, the Mason, and the Alien. I'm sorry, sis, go ahead. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Actually, that was pretty much it, except for he talked about the Masons, he talked about the Moors, and he talked about Jesus. So,
okay.
Like, holy moly.
You don't happen to remember the title of that video?
No,
and that's okay if you don't.
My cell phone just kicked off, and I'll get a new one soon, sometime tomorrow or, a couple of days after.
Okay, yeah, no worries. And I'll try to look for it and post it on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Text my son, because he's the one who gave it to me.
And, okay. I'll get, because he's always giving me information. All right, so I'll link up with him.
Yeah,
okay,
he had it. It was pretty good. It was like, I was fucking in my breath. Yeah. Insight.
Okay, so.
Oh, you.
Well, that book is basically speaking of a specific bloodline that God created. And he then sent them out amongst the Aboriginal people who were already there. He didn't take the credit for creating the people that were being conquered. Not once.
Right.
He ain't give them no warning, nothing. He ain't talked to them. They had to find out about him through his people.
Now, who is the him you're referring to, Brother Sean?
Oh, the mysterious Sky Daddy.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I just wanted you to be clear to the family. Yeah.
Well, Isaiah she mentioned it. I mentioned that last week with that Richard Smith situation. Isaiah was saying that the scribes had changed the books to make it where Yahweh was the creator. Now, when you look at Yahweh, first it was in the beginning of the first book of Genesis, it was Elohim, and then Yahweh came and stole the creation. Now, the Egyptians, what's his name? Akhenaten. His supporters, I read this obscure article, his supporters was the priest, and they are considered the Levites in modern time, I guess. And this article said that they changed it. Now, the Anunnaki, the EGGs came down, then Marduk married a human, and Marduk is the father of the Egyptians. So all of that kind of like goes into play as to who stole the Sky Daddy stuff, who said their Sky Daddy is Yahweh. So, and then they start changing our creator, and we got hooked up into this Jesus stuff because they came here and brought it. So that's Ephesians, 2nd chapter. So all of that.
Who is our creator?
Yeah. Oh my God, I knew you was gonna go there. Go ahead, Brother Sean. Oh shit.
Mother Earth created us. Okay, so we came up out of Mother Earth. We're part of Mother Earth. But I'm just saying, because it's just a bad habit, brother. It really.
That's okay. Now you know he gonna get your butt, but it's all good, sis. It's all good. You're growing. You're growing.
It's just a bad habit. But Akhenaten, who was one of the pharaohs of the Egyptians, he's the one. His priests started writing a new text. The people, for our people to get sidetracked, because the Egyptians threw him out. And he has a temple to the sun god, or Ra, and so on and so forth, because that's Nefertiti's husband, I think it is. And so that kind of makes everything kind of like gel, because the Anunnaki said that the Egyptians are the Igigis. And so when you hear, Sarnetta and all those people talking, they're talking about their Egyptians, even the Moors. They carry that head, Egyptians. And so when I was sitting there listening to the young Pharaoh, I said, oh, so the Moors are the Igigis, who says they're the Egyptians. Oh, okay. So, because I have heard the lost book of Enki, and all of that stuff started fitting in place.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, if you do not have the Lost Book of Enki in your collection, go get that shit ASAP. Get it ASAP. And I am telling you, because I read it, Brother Wendell did the entire motherfucking book on this platform. We went through that shit line item by line item. We opened up the goddamn Holy Bible and matched that shit up. It tells you who the Anunnaki beings are that's being referred to in that Bible. So again, for me, that's why I'm not. Well, I didn't broke the spell of the Bible on my particular cipher and energy shit. I never really bought into it. Even when I was a child, when that shit was trying to be forced on me, they hated my motherfucking ass because the questions I would ask, I was told to shut up and don't be asking those. So all of my shit was validated because that shit is not, of course, what they're telling the populace it is. Okay? Yes, it has prophecy in there. Do not get me wrong on that. But that genealogy people are holding on to, the people that they think is for them, it ain't even fucking for you. That ain't even a part of your motherfucking bloodline. Okay? But again, Go get the Lost Book of Enki, Zachariah Stitchin. I don't give a fuck what nobody's saying. He was an agent, this, and the third. Okay, whatever. You keep that. But you should be able to be spiritually enough in tune to take what the fuck he said and use discernment. But you can line that shit up with the Bible, and you can look at other ancient texts that deal with the Sumerian text, and you can see who is whom. This planet, the people have been put under a spell by these beings. And folk, I just find it fascinating that folk want to hold on to that shit, and it ain't yet benefited your motherfucking ass. Because it wasn't meant for you. Keep telling y'all are not in that particular club / bloodline. That's why you don't benefit. So that's why I'm so hard on the Bible, because I see melanated folks take that shit and run with it and be lost in a motherfucker. So, all right, so I'm going to go to 310. I'm sorry, go ahead on. I'm getting to you, 310, sweetie pie. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
We bring the prophecies to life.
Absolutely.
It's just a spell that was written.
Exactly.
And we tie to it and bring it to life.
Yep.
We're the power source behind everything. We're the creators. So
yep.
They figured out that if they can get us to believe in their dreams,
yep,
we help them manifest what they want.
That is correct.
Whether it's at our downfall or not. Now, as far as for anything that is written or any story of origin, we have no origin. Energy can be created or destroyed.
Or destroyed, exactly.
So, anything written or told about an origin story is just that. We've always been. We're always going to be. Now,
exactly.
As far as for which realm or frequency,
right?
That's up to you, and that's the reality that you create for yourself.
That's right. That's right.
So just because we see some of their things that appear to be prophecies, look at that as your power to create your own prophecy.
That's right.
Fulfill that. Make that happen. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep. Yep. And hence the responsibility that I was talking about earlier that a lot of folks are avoiding. That's the responsibility, creating your own reality, cleaning up the realm, being caretakers, because waiting on somebody else, you gonna get what the fuck they feel like giving you. And to be quite frank, you motherfucking deserve whatever the fuck they give you. If you gonna let a little G run you, you get whatever the fuck they serving up. Because all of those origin stories, every last one of them motherfuckers, start with the quote male deity, and I already know, I know they on some bullshit. Because, bitch, you can't create no motherfucking realms. It has to come through the XX. But folk getting their motherfucking feelings, and because they are up under a patriarch spell, feel that some type of male deity, some type of male sky daddy created it. This shit is real simple. It's not hard. It's just, what do you want to do? You want to stay asleep, or you truly want to stand up and be the divine being, or if you want to use God, the uppercase G that you are. And if you don't want to do that, then you deserve whatever these fucking beings motherfucking serve up to you. You deserve the contract that they issue to you, that they write for you. That's what you're going to get. So, very, very, very good discussion. So, okay, I'm going to 310, sweetheart. I don't know if you meant to press 1. Anyone in the chat room, if you want to call in and put something on it, dial 929-477-3851. I'm sorry, 929-477-3858 and press 1 to get in the queue. All right, 310, I'm going to try this. I'm not sure if you pressed 1.
Oh, I think it was in my purse, so I must have.
Okay, peace and love. You're live, 310.
Peace and love. Thank you. Peace and love. I think I did it by accident, so I'm just.
Okay. No, okay. All right, sweet pea, no problem. I'll put you back on mute. Okay, peace and love.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how that rolls sometimes. Okay, so all of a sudden now I'm hearing double echo. I'm not sure if y'all hearing it in the chat room. Okay, it stopped. Cool. All right then, family. Now I found a little video. Here's my personal. Go ahead on with the fuckery. It's 5 minutes. Now I got this off of, I saw where the brother American Aboriginal Son off of his YouTube channel posted this video. It's only 5 minutes, but originally, so shout out to American Aboriginal Son. Check out that brother's YouTube channel. But the name of this video is, would it make a difference if I was one telling the truth? Okay, so this is my go ahead on with the fuckery. It's only 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
Have black people that get on the radio every day in white-owned companies, white-owned stations with white-owned sponsors that play the role of hypersexualized, hypercriminalized male. I asked these advertisers, I say, I've got hundreds of songs a day that celebrate killing animals. Will you put them on your station? They said, no. I got hundreds of songs a day that talk about assaulting women and abusing kids. Would you put them on your station? They said, no. I said, I got hundreds of songs a day that talk about murdering blacks. Would you put them on your stations? They said, well, that depends. Depends on what? Who it's done by and who it's branded for. Because if we can get black folks to sing about it, we can brand it for our youngest black audiences, I think there's money to be made. I think there's American appetites to see these people that way. I said, how can you say that? They said, well, look, it's what these artists know. It's what they, black people, create. It's, matter of fact, our surveys say it's what they want to hear, which speaks of a sickness. How do we live in a society where somebody says, you know what, I'm inspired to write a song that celebrates murdering another person. And then a person says, I'd like to put that on my station. Another person said, I'd like to pay for it. And then there's people out here in the audience that go, I'd love to hear it, as long as it's black guys. Because even white people buy rap music, buy this type of stuff, because we know that when we want to hear about killing each other, we know who to turn to for that type of inspiration. We call it our music. We say we own it. White people buy more rap than black people. Yeah, but we're very careful to turn it down at the stoplight when other black people are there. Why? Because we know we're just pretending. For them, it's more authentic and real. I always ask the companies, what about your name? What about your brand? What about your value? And the largest radio company in the world said this: it's okay that we only have drug dealers on our black youth stations. We only have murders on our black youth stations. We support black charities. We give out water at the Martin Luther King parade. I think we've got it covered. We bought them off. Now, people get upset, the smartest guys in the room again. You're talking about censorship. I don't believe that. I believe in free art. Make whatever you want. I believe you should make music about anti-Semitism. I believe you should make music about killing dogs. I believe in this country you should make music about bashing homosexuals and driving them behind trucks. I believe you should make music about stringing people up on trees. I believe you should make music about killing whitey. I believe you should make all that music. But I also believe that in the mainstream marketplace, people should hesitate associating their name with certain content. You know, there's certain stuff you can't buy at the store, certain stuff you can't get on iTunes because their brand doesn't want it. But if you want to hear black people celebrating killing black people, they got thousands and thousands and thousands of those things to sell you. I don't think it's about censorship. I think it's about American cultural hypocrisy. Because here's the truth. These black entertainers, they can't sing just about anything. There's some stuff that'll get them fired, and they get dropped, and they get fired, and they get slapped on the wrist, and they get disciplined all the time. Why? Because sometimes they step over the bounds. A very famous case is what happened with Rick Ross. Rick Ross is the Mammy Two Shoes, one of the many Mammy Two Shoes of our day. He's a black entertainer in a world carved out for him and a role carved out for him by white entertainment companies. And one day he talked about, in the middle of a song that celebrated dealing drugs and killing blacks, he made a reference to date rape. And when he made that reference to date rape, that set social media on fire. That got 100,000 petitions in 24 hours. Hey, buddy, date rape is no joke. That had white people standing outside of Reebok in New York saying, you better take this seriously. We're tired of a rape culture in America. One line in one song moved the masses. And you know what Reebok did? Did they stand by him and say, hey, we believe in freedom of speech. We believe in freedom of expression. It's just a song. Calm down. No, they fired his tail on the spot. The president came out and said, this goes against our high standards. He's gone against the values of our brand. Shame on Rick Ross. We're disappointed. He doesn't know how serious date rape is. And when I saw that, I thought, wow, how convenient. Isn't that amazing? But here's what really happened. It's not their brand, it's not their values. Rick Ross went off script. He was hired to get black customers, and they think that black customers go with black bait. And in America, black bait is the hyper-criminalized, hypersexualized portrayal of black people. And as long as he had sung about that, the stuff that got him hired, he still have a job at Reebok. But when he touched other sensitivities that affect us, he lost his job. See, the truth is, it's not they that need to change. It's we that need to change. We created the lies. We created them for our profit. We own the companies. We own the record labels. We own the advertisers, and we keep putting it out. And it's this that's got to change. I thought about it. You know what? I wonder if White Mike could get anybody's attention on this. So I stood outside of a Walmart. And I said, hey, I don't think killing cops and killing blacks is very cool. And you know what? It only took 7 weeks of Mike standing out there, and they wrote a letter and said, yeah, we don't think it's cool either. We're going to pull our name off of that. The largest retailer in the world had never considered that maybe their commercial shouldn't be right before or after a song about young black men being gunned down. And I realized this, that black murder is normal, but it should not be. And I realized the importance at the coffee table, at every headline, every pastor's gathering, every family gathering to say, you know what, these black lives matter. It's not just another black kid. These are human beings. I'm doing my best in every way, shape, and form. Talks like this everywhere I can go to say, you know what, I was born in a world where black murder was normal. My kids were born into a world where black murder is normal, but I don't want to die in a world where black murder is normal. Am I 5 years or 10 years away? I don't know, but I'm screaming as high as I can. Let's feel this pain, and let's lift our voice to tell the lies. They are not criminals. They are not deviants, and their lives are just as important as ours. Thank you very much.
All right. So again, I got that off of Brother American Aboriginal Son's YouTube channel. I think it was originally came from channel Collie Buzz, but the title of that video, would it make a difference if I was the one telling the truth? So this is my go ahead on with the fuckery. Again, as we talked about earlier about melanated folks, what we participate in, okay? And, you know, being silent means you're accepting of this bullshit. And it's quite sad because although Caucasians own the companies, you still have melanated folks that are being the talking heads and glorifying these same artists that put out this motherfucking garbage. And as he said, you know, they're the hired help and they have to follow a script. But we, as melanated people, we allow for this shit to happen. We allow for it to be talked about and sung about and motherfucking gyrated to on a regular basis. about the murder of melanated people, the mistreatment of women, the options that are for our young brothers. We allow this shit to go on. The glory of these artists, the men and the fuckery, the women and the whoring and the motherfucking gyrating. We as melanated people allow this shit to go on. We don't hold people accountable. And it literally only took one generation to flip the fucking music. And everybody's comfortable with that. And then us older ones want to get on the millennials and the Zs. But what reality have we created for them? And some of the old motherfucking heads still bounce to the shit. So that's my go ahead on with the fuckery. You get what you deserve when you're silent or you participate in the bullshit. Then you get what you deserve. It's accountability across the board. It's personally to me fucking disgusting to see 40 and 50-year-olds still motherfucking putting out this fuckery and have not stepped up for the fuckery that they put out in the past. The shit is wrong. It's wrong. And until melanated people, because I'm going to tell you something, and I keep fucking getting on here every week to say it, melanated people, you run the energy in the realm. Until you get your mind together and create the world you want to live in, you get the shit that you get. Now, the only catch I want to put in there again is that you are in the midst of a motherfucking cleanup. A spiritual / planetary cleanup. And purging will occur. And all of that low-level vibrational shit is out of here. So that's my go ahead on with the fuckery. A white guy shouldn't have to put out a 5-minute video about the music industry and the vibration and melanated folks being used for hire to set the tone. He shouldn't have to do that. That shit is personally motherfucking embarrassing to me. So, all right, that's my go ahead on with the fuckery. Okay, so Sister Brother Sean, you can put something on it. Yes, sir.
The elite in the music industry, the melanated elite, they're of that bloodline.
Agreed.
So they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
We shouldn't be holding them accountable for anything as far as for directing or misdirecting our people. Because if they were about their business of self, they wouldn't be fooled by it.
True that.
Self-accountability. If you don't know what's going on with the music industry by now, I don't know what to tell you. And the European didn't create music. He doing what he was taught. Music was powerful for us. Music is one of the first languages.
Yep.
And we taught them everything. and put them in a position to be able to program us and reprogram us with our own shit.
With our own shit.
They even told you that you didn't want to hear conscious music. That's what they told people. Oh, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
And y'all believe that shit.
Yeah, and bought it.
Because I hear people all the time, as far as for some of these young cats. I talk to them about a message. First thing they want to tell me is, don't nobody want to hear that. I can't get paid off of that.
Right.
I'm like, who told you that? Oh, that's what everybody said. Oh, so you say that because everybody else say that.
Say it, right.
But I've talked to plenty of people that like conscious music, that like good lyrical content. But if you listen to them, nobody wants to hear that. So we just being told what we should listen to, what we should wear, how we should look, what we should call ourselves, how we should think. I mean, back in the day, you hear somebody ride past with music, you'll start dancing or start singing.
Yep.
Now somebody ride past playing music and motherfuckers start shooting and all type of other dumb shit.
Right.
It's definitely fuckery.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I like to say one thing. You say it all the time. Grandmama and them.
Yeah.
Needs to start teaching the children who they really are, so they don't go out and try to emulate somebody who's making it doing those kind of things. Because it's the flash, it's the popularity that drives these children out there. And not only that, there's some parents who will be riding in the car, just like you said, 50-year-old, 40-year-old.
Gyrating all my fucking stinking asses, yeah.
I know, and the kids in the car, and they cussing up a blues streak and singing all that nasty stuff, and the kids know every word of it because the parents do that. I mean, the training starts at home, and then the training for the parent who's playing that dumb music should have had it from their parents. If we don't start realizing who we are and the importance we are to this planet, they'll always control it. But once you start knowing who you are and don't listen to the effery, so to speak, then you can start, looking at other avenues to use that 5% or 10% or 15%, whatever percent of your brain that you don't use. And invent something to make a difference, or do something to make a difference, instead of increasing your volume on your music, so our children, you won't even know that your child is gone and somebody had taken him while you walking down the street with your headphones on. And they say selling your child now in the trafficking department. Human trafficking is going to run amok because these parents don't take the time to find out where their children are at all times.
Right, indeed. Shout out to JBP, gave us the title of the Young Pharaoh video, and now it makes sense. Now I remember, because I actually posted that video on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page. Black people are extraterrestrials, part 1.
That's part 2.
Okay, so there's a part 1 and 2. Part 2 published on YouTube on 2/20.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, because I actually played that video, and he said that he shared that. Young Pharaoh said he shared that information about 5 years ago. Absolutely. So go check out that video. It's called "Black People Are Extraterrestrials." It's on YouTube. It's a Young Pharaoh video. He once again laid that shit out. Sis Cheryl said Berry Gordy and President Jimmy Carter are second cousins. So many are related. Absolutely. Lillian Gordy Carter was Jimmy Carter's mother and Barry's aunt. Yep. So get your shit together, melanated people. You control what's going on, or otherwise you're going to be exited stage left off of this planet. And whether that's being purged off, a motherfucking exited off where transportation arrangements are made. But you the fuck up out of here either way. All right. So now we're going to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
While that's on my mind, just everything be one. I just still can't get with that. The body only has so many organs. Each organ is different and performs a different function. It all works in unison, but it's not all the same. And just like when parasites enter the body may still function, but they don't belong there.
That's right.
We ain't all one. Now that's just a microcosm. The macrocosm being Mama and her Aboriginal children.
Right.
We ain't all one. Even as far as for melanated people, we ain't all one. Because the fall began before there was any so-called white man here. Millions of years before there was a white man.
Exactly.
So, ultimately, who do we blame?
Indeed.
We're quote-unquote gods and goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
We let this shit happen to our mama.
That's
we
right.
We let this shit happen to us.
Yep. Yep, indeed. Oh, shoot. Brother Sean and Sis wind up dropping off. Ain't that a B? All right, so they'll get back on. Damn, they literally both dropped at the same time. Okay, so they'll get back on. So what I'm going to go to, Sis Cheryl, as usual, she sent me two things, and I got to watch the board because I know they're going to come back on, Sis and Brother Sean. All right, so last week when we talked about Andrew Jackson in White Trash, the 400-year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg, we talked about the word quadroon, and which quadroon meant mixed. All right, so Sis Cheryl posted a post where she dug up this poster, and it's actually for the family that's on YouTube Live. If you're looking at the pictures that's going across the feed, there is one that has the presidents on there. And if you look at John Adams, he's right next to George Washington. he looked melanated to me, goddammit. At a minimum, he looks mulatto, okay? So I am going to go into an article that Sis Cheryl provided. Let me see, Brother Sean. Hold on a minute. Let me try to text the brother to see if he could get back on, because if I go into the article, then I can't see the dog on board. So hold on a second for me, family. Let's see here. Let's see what Brother Sean is saying. Okay, I haven't seen him yet, so let me text him. All right, Brother Sean. All right, where are you? All right, brother. It's always something, y'all. But I'm glad you all can hear us tonight very well on the YouTube land. So that's good. Brother, where? Now I can't find his number. Oh, crap. All right, let me see. I can call that family.
Hello.
Oh, hey, you couldn't get back in?
Well, it's giving me a busy signal.
I can't stand their ass. And now I can't even add you. I should be able to add you. Damn.
So click.
Yeah, I saw you and Sis dropped. Well, damn. And you know, I got you on conference, but it will not let me add you in here.
I'll piss somebody off.
I don't know. It's like, matter of fact, half of the people dropped now that I look at it. So try again, and then I'm going to try to figure out, try to get back in, and then I'll try to figure out how to get you back on.
Yeah, because we not past time.
No, we got another hour left.
Okay, I'll keep trying.
Okay, then. All right. All right, family. Sorry about that, Brother Sean. Shit, literally half the people that were on the phone on Blog Talk just dropped. So that was Brother Sean and Sis, and he's trying to get back in, getting a busy signal. I tried to conference him back in, and now all of a sudden, I'm going to try this one more time. I couldn't add him. I'm going to try it one more time. So bear with me, family. Sorry about this.
Hello. Sis? Can you hear me, sis?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, sorry, brother. It's literally not letting me conference you in. Sorry, I just tried it again. Not working.
We don't get enough views for this type of censorship.
I know. You would think, right?
All right. I'll keep trying, though.
Okay, then, brother.
But I'm listening on YouTube.
Okay, then. Okay, peace. Yeah, sis. I can't. I'm probably on the air now. Shit, they just gonna have to call. All right, family. Sorry about that. Here we go. I see Brother Sean finally got back in. Wouldn't even let me bring him in, so sorry about that. Ain't that a beat? But we know how that works. All right, Brother Sean, you back?
Yeah.
Okay, Ian. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Blog Talk, get your shit together. It's
all the way together.
Too. Quit fucking
all the way together.
Empire.
Yeah, because literally half of the folks on the line dropped. And I was just about to go into the reading, and I saw you and Sis drop. And then when I looked at the numbers, I'm like, oh, shit, they dropped. So I was going to just conference you in. I couldn't conference you in. And then Sis called me on the other line, and I couldn't conference her in. So she back on, so let me bring her on, too.
Hey.
All right, Sis, there we go. Ain't that a beast?
It was, you could hear it click.
Yeah, I saw when y'all dropped, and like I said, literally like half of the folks that called in dropped, stinking ass. So, all right,
so this old school phone.
Huh? It sounded like a what?
It sounded like an old school phone, the landline, when somebody hangs up on you.
Oh, hell to the no! It's like I'm sick of their asses. Click, click.
The old school click.
Old school
damn.
Click. They control
That's a shame.
FBI, honey.
Well, like Brother Sean said, you know, it ain't like we a big channel. What the fuck you fucking with us for?
They true.
We ain't big like that. Shit. All right. So this article is from Sis Cheryl. It's from Afro Punk. It's called, it came out in 2016. It's called Know Your Black History, Deconstructing the Quadroon Ball. Now, remember, last week, the word quadroon came out of the White Trash book, referring to, as we're in the Andrew Jackson's motherfucking section. So it's really, quadroon means mixed because we looked it up. All right. So the swooning woman of color, this was an advertisement from 1858 New Orleans, and it's the first proof I have ever seen of a quadroon ball. I had never come across any proof that these balls actually happened. I fully believed these balls were the creation of Southern white male fantasies about needy, swooning, sexual women of color hoping to have the opportunity to have a relationship with them, i.e. a white male privilege fantasy. But as I looked in wonder at the very first proof I had ever seen of a quadroon ball, everything about the advertisement struck me as wrong and contradicted every bit of history I knew about New Orleans and Louisiana society. Then I did something that too few consumers of history do. I began deconstructing the advertisement in the content of the history of Louisiana and New Orleans. When I did this, it crushed and destroyed the mythical ideas behind quadroon balls. Okay, so this is by Nick Douglas, Afro-Punk contributor. So I'm going to have to blow it up because he put a little advertisement from back in the day. So it's Washington and American Ballroom, formerly the Globe, corner of St. Peter and I can't read that other street, y'all. It's CLA something TE, so I can't read it. Opposite the old Baldwin, and this is kind of blurred, so bear with me here. All right, so here's little side notes. He's showing on the side, because on the left-hand side it has a woman and a man all hugged the fuck up. And he made the note, swooning women of color. And then on the other side, he says, okay, it's formerly the Globe near St. Peter and St. Claude Street. Okay, thank you, because I couldn't read it because it was blurry. All right, so this was March 1858. All right, the first quadroon ball of the, I don't know what that is, will be given on Thursday. So March, whatever that specific date is, 1858. I'm trying to see because all that's blurry. So trying to point out because the rest of it is blurry. So basically, he's showing that a grand fancy dress and masquerade ball every Saturday night until further notice. And so he put a note that it was additional police force arranged. Okay, so I guess they was the security at this motherfucking quadroon ball. And so on the side he put were relationships with white men desirable? So that was a question that he put on the side. And so he also pointed out there, because in this little flyer, it was a proprietor. And so that proprietor was Sam I.S. Smith. And, excuse me, he points out that the melanated woman that they kind of cartoonized, booed up with the white dude, was grand, fancy, and superior. So, quadroon referred to women of color whose ancestry was supposedly mixed with only 1/4 black blood. The term was popularized by President Jefferson, a slave owner who never arranged to free his own black children born by his slave Sally Heming or any of the other 200 slaves he held at his death. Now remember, in White Trash, the 400-year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg, when she did her chapter on Jefferson's motherfucking ass, what shocked me, that she said Jefferson was a proponent of mixing the melanated and the Caucasian, because from his eyesight, it was to breed out the blackness. All right? So that does not surprise me that he popularized that particular term, quadroon, okay? So he was a major swirler. That's what they call it nowadays, swirling. All right, so grand, fancy, superior. In the myth of quadroon balls, women of color attended lavish dances with the hope of forming a plethora of relationships with eligible white men. But the historical practice of places relationships between white men and free women of color were legally binding contractual agreements drawn up in the presence of a notary public. In these arrangements for monogamous or extramarital relationships, women were typically set up with a house and income, and any children were financially provided for by the white father. Americans had outlawed marriages between races and made it very difficult for children of color to inherit from their colonial fathers. Placage arrangements were a logical alternative. Couples also simply cohabitated. Okay, because remember last week when we were reading White Trash, and she was talking about the folks in the swamp and how some of them also had tawny wives. Okay, so we know what the fuck tawny means. Tawny means, quote, quote, black skin color. All right, so free women of color in Louisiana were a powerful group in their own right. They owned land, slaves, property, and businesses. So now I'm going to say this shit again, because we took and told y'all, we've been telling y'all this shit for years. All right, so now here are several receipts. Free women of color in Louisiana were a powerful group in their own right. They owned land, slaves, property, and businesses. They were also beautiful. It only makes sense that any man would be attracted to them, but they did not rise to their level of affluence being stupid. Just as today, people who have assets take steps to protect their assets when they enter into marriage or relationships, free women of color in Louisiana did the same thing. Were relationships with white men considered desirable? For well-to-do free people of color in New Orleans, placage relationships were not necessarily desirable or admirable. My sixth great aunt, whose mother had been a slave, grew up well-to-do in New Orleans. She resisted the attention of a Spanish colonial who was so infatuated with my aunt that he ingratiated himself with the family in every possible way, from serving as a sponsor and a godparent in church, to arranging loans for my aunt to start a tavern, even though my aunt did not need his financial help. His persistence paid off. My aunt finally relented to this Spaniard and formed a long-standing monogamous relationship with him. Her sisters and brothers married other free people of color. So she was considered the white sheep of the family. In 1867, my third great-grandfather became a member of Les Jeunesses Amis, a prestigious social club known for its dance hall, but more famously known for denying membership to anyone who had a placid relationship in their ancestry. March 1858. In 1858, Louisiana, there was very little to celebrate and dance about if you were a free person on color. In the lead up to the Civil War, hundreds of Creole and black families are preparing to leave the state for Mexico and Haiti. Now that's interesting. A curfew was in effect for free people of color and slaves. The number of people of color who could publicly gather was severely restricted. Free people of color entered the city were required to register with the mayor's office. That same year, groups of whites throughout the state physically attacked free people of color. In 1859, Louisiana legislators proposed re-enslaving free people of color and seizing their property. Formerly the Globe, near corner of St. Peter and St. Claude Streets. The Globe was a gambling hall in New Orleans near the docks, which were notorious as an as in any major port, for debauchery and raunchy visitors to the city. Most well-to-do Creoles and free people of color lived and worked in the enclaves of the French Quarter or Faubourg Treme neighborhoods. Before the Louisiana Purchase, whites and people of color lived, mixed, and interacted in the same neighborhoods. They met and began relationships through friends and family at dances, musical events, at church, and frequenting stores and eateries like Cafe des Refugees. That's what it looks like to me. That's interesting. Established in the 1790s. Because of the culture in Louisiana, people mixed and had relationships even though there was slavery. The new Americans did not understand the unique culture that had formed there and tried to destroy it by insisting upon and enforcing strict racial boundaries. Even today, Louisiana is the state in the U.S. with the highest number of white people with African DNA, and its complicated culture continues to be misunderstood. All right, so that last part about white people having African DNA, I'm just going to say melanated indigenous DNA. That should be no surprise to anyone in regards to New Orleans. All right, so emission reduced. In 1860 New Orleans, many Creoles and other free people of color were prosperous homeowners and business owners. In 1860, they paid taxes on property valued at $15 million. That's $415 million today, 2014 dollars. Many Creoles and free people of color were highly educated and had degrees from French universities. These prosperous, well-educated New Orleans families would not have subjected their daughters to a notorious, unsavory dance hall filled with complete strangers. An additional police force also arranged. This reveals the general seediness of this ball and its proprietor. It does not seem logical that a police presence would be needed for such a grand, fancy, and superior gathering. I don't know about that, because to me, if folks was robbing or whatever, they could have needed security. But okay, I'll give you that, brother. It does make sense that additional police presence would be needed for a dance held at a notorious gambling spot where prostitution was taking place. Okay, yep, I'm with you on that. Sam S. Smith, proprietor Smith, was a well-known scoundrel and interloper from the North. By deconstructing his advertisement, the Cadroon Ball can be understood as a not-so-veiled cover for prostitution for sailors and visiting Northerners. In the 1790s, New Orleans slaveholders had objected to attempts to prohibit slaves from attending dances frequented by white colonists or colonials and free men of color. Slaveholders realized that slave women could make more money as prostitutes than in any other job. Later, Louisiana Supreme Court heard cases that suggested slaveholders sold or leased out slave women for prostitution at these balls. Just 2 years before this ball, Senator Charles Sumner rose before the Senate and gave a speech called The Crime Against Kansas. In the speech, he said Senator Butler of South Carolina was introducing the Kansas-Nebraska Act not only to make Kansas a slave state, but to expand and continue slavery so that white slaveholders could continue to force sex on slave women. 2 days later, Butler's cousin, Congressman Preston Brooks, viciously attacked Sumner with a cane, nearly killing him. All right, so those from South Carolina know that there's a city named Sumner in South Carolina, all right? So now you know where the name came from. All right, but Sumner's references to rape enraged Brooks, but it was becoming increasingly common for aboriginalists to accuse slavery proponents of using slavery to force sexual relations on slave women. Placage and other long-term relationships existed between white men and women of color in New Orleans, but quadroon and octoroon balls were not about cultivating these relationships. Continuing to retell the fanciful myths about the quadroon ball only served to paper over another hideous injustice of slavery, the use of slave women for sex and sex trade, with a convenient and white male-centric fantasy. Okay, so Nick Douglas is the author of Finding Octave, the untold story of two Creole families in slavery in Louisiana. The book is available on Amazon.com. So again, this is off of the website Afropunk. And the name of this article is, hold on, family, I got to scroll back up to the top. Oh, come on, thing. I'm not in the mood. It is called Know Your Black History, Deconstructing the Quadroon Ball. All right, so thanks so much, Sis Cheryl, for that. So I'll pause in case Sis or Brother Sean, you want to put something on it. Otherwise, we're going to keep it moving.
Now, of course, we know the Moors started that with white women.
Mm-hmm.
But that scenario also is plausible because remember they told them to take indigenous women and not to worry about them skank hoes from Europe.
Yep. That's what the author said in White Trash. That is correct.
So originally they wasn't even good enough for the sex trade.
Child, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? I straight up can't.
But if you think about it though, like when I was younger coming up, it was only white people in porno movies. I didn't think that black people did that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought white women were sex slaves and that was their only purpose in life.
Damn, that's deep.
That's what the media portrayed. I mean, they was the only ones in the movies doing all that weird stuff. I mean, but now our women emulate them. Our women want to be degraded. They just want people to want to do all types of weird shit to them.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts have power, but they sit up and try and create fantasies. And you really don't know what these motherfuckers is thinking for real, for real.
Right.
But that's going off into something totally different. But
but no, it's not, because we know the origins of all of this stuff. So very, very good point, Brother Sean. And shout out to Purple Pill. Glad to see you on YouTube. Yeah, because they even shut down the Blog Talk chat too. So anyhow, all right, family. So let's get back up into our.
But you know, in all
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
In all fairness, all of this stuff they tell you at the beginning of that book that the white slave people were animals and were not considered worthy of anything but to just exist and do their job. So if you look at the so-called origin, that somebody had a secret, this lady Eisenberg, she knew what the secret was. Why they were considered.
She knew. Yeah. This is excellent work, but because I know what I know, she had to even do some coding.
Yeah, she had to code that
with
stuff.
Words. Yeah, she had to code stuff, but because I know what I know, I was able to decode it. Okay. Now, of course, she can't come out and say that those melanated European that European throne was melanated, because she never would have been able to be on the New York Times bestseller list. But she certainly hinted that melanated people owned slaves, and melanated people were side by side with the white folks in the fields working. Okay, and she definitely.
Fields, you know,
huh?
The melanated people had those fields that they were working in.
Absolutely. So, you know, we know that the European kings were definitely melanated, and they put their boys in them on when they came over here to manage the stolen land, pretty much. Now, before I forget, I'm just going to point out again, Caucasian folks, like Brother Sean said, it was that certain Moor bloodline that goes back quite far of enslaving Caucasian folk. All right, and taking the women and using them as concubines, the Caucasian women, and using them as concubines, sex slaves, all of that jazz. So none of what that particular brother brought out about the quadroon ball, none of that shit is shocking to us, because we know how this shit rolls. But
Yakub, the big head scientist, if that brings it into perspective for some. Wasn't he the one that's supposed to have created them?
Yeah.
Yeah. We like him sitting out both like, yeah.
So,
yeah.
He was a Moor, wasn't he?
And weeded out the darker race.
Yeah.
Don't forget the part.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he was a Moor, though, right?
Yeah.
And they said he was an extraterrestrial, as far as I know of.
Yeah, island of Dr.
Monroe, yep. Morrow, yep, you're right. Yep, Morrow, yep, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I like to go back over something I said. There's an article right here on the currently from AT&T showing 3 bottles of Lysol. And the people in China are walking through these giant disinfectant machines. So they are using Lysol to disinfect them.
Oh, for the what's the face virus?
Yeah. I just wanted to.
But my shit was flagged as false information.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep goddamn it pointing that out.
I think 3 yellow bottles of Lysol.
And somebody else just posted on Facebook about Lysol, and then somebody came behind it. Oh, sis, that's a different strand. Blah, 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 blah. All right, well, you need to tell that to the motherfucking news, because they keep flip-flopping. One minute it's a different strand, the next they spraying motherfuckers down with Lysol. They so full of shit.
And that was the Yahoo Business UK.
Yeah, okay then.
Yahoo Finance UK, excuse me.
Okay.
You're right. You can say I didn't see that. And I want to take that off the table for a minute and let that be gone. But yeah, they pretty bad on this maroons and cartoons and all that kind of stuff. And you know, then I'm going to tell you one thing: our people perpetrated the fraud because they start talking about dark versus light. And I'm sure.
Okay, so let's be clear on who's our people, because we're gonna break these motherfucking spells.
I'm talking about in certain families where, you know, they want you to use that ultra to get you all bright and you know, ticked off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about that. But the Jim Crow laws and stuff started trying to divide the melanated people from the light to the dark. And that's one of the reasons why we have such conflict. And some people think that the yellow girl gets everything and the darker ones don't get anything. Because I was talking to my sister today, and I said, you got more melanin to withstand this planet than the ones that have the least amount. You got more going for you than the one that don't. What are you talking about? So this is where the psychological game started, and the music and all this, you know, the drugs and the color variations, and it was, you know, I think it was in the Holy Men of Zion's book when they started that, or either Albert Pike's doctrines and stuff, and they started putting that out there to make us fight each other.
No, I disagree. They ain't put a motherfucking thing out.
We did it.
That was exactly, and that's why I said I want to be clear on who is we, because I'm not gonna lump myself with that fuck shit. It's the same dirty ass bloodline, melanated bloodline.
Exactly, because we existed in various shades before there was a white man or any form of amalgamation.
Exactly.
So
it shows you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
All that was just to get us to hate every form of us here.
Exactly.
They put that in our heads to where we didn't trust each other anymore. It all falls into that divide and conquer.
Exactly.
That was perpetrated by melanated beings.
Absolutely. I 1,000% agree. And I see people, melanated folks, with that same stupid ass shit today.
Valid. Yeah.
You know, oh, well, you know, I got more melanin than you. You like, motherfucker, if you don't get the fuck out my face, I'll slap the piss out of you. A melanated woman, a DNA, holds all spectrums of motherfucking light. So what the fuck is you talking about? Just ignorant bullshit. And it shows you that melanated people was putting that bullshit out. Now, the quote, light copper color, because let's get the shit straight. It's the copper color race.
Yeah.
You ignorant fuckers. I'm sick of this shit. Oh, I'm dark. I'm going to survive. Get the fuck out of my face. The melanated woman holds the DNA structure for all codes of life, bitch. What y'all confused ass? So now you done sunk so low, copper color ain't good enough for you no more. So now you're going to the semi-exotic look with the fake ass, the fake titties, the this and the that. So all of you niggas will be purged. Do not think your fucking melanated hue is gonna save you. It is what you are doing with your light spectrum body from a vibratory state. I'm sick of the ignorance. So I don't want to hear this bullshit. Oh, you got white in your motherfucker. Prove that I got white in my family, bitch. Stop with the ignorant shit. Sick of this bullshit. Get your mind together. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Large amounts of melanin, as far as for sisters, is it in the ass, the nipples, areola? I mean, that's the proof right there. Y'all ain't running around with no pink nipples because you're light skinned.
I get so sick of motherfuckers. I'm like, if you don't get the fuck out my face, you better. Because literally, people are so ignorant. My mom said when I was born, the doctors back in the day, the Caucasian doctors, was trying to tell her, that's not your baby. Or you had that baby with a mixed man, because my mother is heavily melanated of a darker hue.
They did that to me too.
So again, in her fucking DNA, she can produce any spectrum of light. So get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit.
Yeah, most quote unquote black people, ass is black as fuck, and it's very seldomly in the goddamn sun, but your ass the darkest part of your body.
True that.
That's where the whole saying your black ass come from.
Exactly. Like if you don't sit your black ass down somewhere. Yeah, and just to hear quote quote melanated folks talk that stupid shit.
And they still do it.
Because somebody that hurt their motherfucking feelings on their skin tone. So then they want to go in on another skin tone. Well, aren't you perpetuating the same shit that hurts your feelings?
Good stuff.
That's not what the science say, boo.
But you have to admit, I don't know if you want it, but our men tend to go to the lighter. If they're dark, they go lighter.
They do. But again, you have to think of who is our man.
Oh, well.
You got to really look at the fucking who's whom of the bloodline.
Yeah.
You got to look at who's who. Because we know that the dirty motherfucking Moors, that's their preference. We already know this. They the ones went and mixed with the Caucasians. Now, it's said that they were supposed to be cleaning up the Caucasian bloodline by mixing. And then when the Caucasians started to come up, they didn't want to do that no more. Now, shout out to Brother Bobby Hemmett. In one of his videos, he said that the Caucasian race was supposed to be blending back in or blending with the melanated bloodline. They head into the 30s to 1930s to start blending back in the majority of their bloodline. Otherwise, when the vibration of the planet started rising, that it was going to wipe them out. And so now here we are in the 2000s, you're seeing the mainstream media push integration. Not integration, interracial is what I'm trying to say, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to push interracial for survival of their bloodline. And according to Bobby Hemmett, he said, and Bobby Hemmett said this shit back in the 90s, mind you, that it was too late. They were supposed to be doing that by the 1930s. And now we can look at the science. This is not folks being racist. This is the science of the declining birth rate of the Caucasian race. And it is said that the last of the Caucasian children are being born now, and they are in a negative birth rate. Okay? So it's not racism, it's science.
And it's nature.
And it's nature, it's science, and it's nature, absolutely, because the Caucasian race was supposed to be breeding with the Moors to clean up their bloodline so it could be compatible with the realm as the vibratory rate rises on Mother Earth. Now we're at the point now where Mother Earth is sending out her light codes, and other energy bodies that have come in to our particular realm as well is sending light codes, and that plasma is pulsing from underneath the ground and, of course, in the sky. And that's literally really, really messing with Caucasian folks with less melanin. Because let's be clear, Caucasian folks, it's not that they don't have melanin. All right, that's another thing. It's not that they don't have melanin. It's just that they have very, very low content of melanin. But that plasma coming in, you have to have a higher content of melanin in order not for that sun to be scorching you. And so I personally believe that that is also a part of them doing this geoengineering in the sky. Okay, one of it is to stop the rising of the vibratory rate of Mother Earth and to block those light codes from coming through. But the other part is to block out some of the radiation that's coming through as well. And the sad part about it, even none of that shit is still, it's just not working. It's just not working. Okay, so those are the scientific facts, not racism. It's the scientific fact. All right? Okay, so let me go to 719. Then we're going to get back into the material. 719, your line is open.
Fuck all niggers. Fuck all niggers. Fuck all niggers.
And I'm going to let this shit play.
Fuck all those
I'm going to let this shit play.
Fuck all those niggers. Fuck all those niggers. Rap steal my shit. Rap and steal my shit. They want to rap and steal my shit because they can't get shit. Go and get a job. Stop trying to rob. Stop trying to fuck my mom. My dick is bigger than yours. Fuck all niggers.
So there you have it, 719. I can't make this shit up. I literally can't make that shit up. So 719, you felt the need of this little platform to take your time to find that motherfucking song, and you may have even created that bullshit yourself.
Yeah, he trying to shop that shit. He trying to get some lessons. He trying to get some places.
Exactly. And then you waited on my fucking hold to get in the queue. to play your little ditty. So I gave you your debut. And
you suck.
Well, they don't know what niggas mean, do they?
And I don't give a fuck if they know or not. It really doesn't matter.
I know.
Because I just find it fascinating that you don't like niggers, you don't like this and that, but your ass found the need to come on here and play your little ditty.
Like I said.
And you need to work on that whack ass beat. Go ahead, sis. Shit. Oh boy, people a mess. So you got your little couple minutes of fame, but work on that motherfucking beat, boo. That shit is whack. All right. Sorry, go ahead.
It's either they were supposed to be absorbed by their gods, the Moors.
The Moors, yep.
Or they get purged.
Well, that's what it's about.
They had an opportunity.
Right.
Doing it now, it's too late. I mean, it's nothing but abominations. It's not to say anything about people who are unfortunately born at that frequency.
Right.
It's nature. Either something is natural or it's unnatural. Period. I mean, that's not up to me. I'm subjected to those same laws, depending upon my actions. So, I mean, we all have a choice.
Absolutely.
That task wasn't meant for the Aboriginal people. That was the Moors' task.
That was the Moors, and they fuck shit.
That's part of their karma. We don't have to get involved with that.
Nope.
People keep saying that the Moors are from Mars. So, I mean, if they're from Mars, then they're not indigenous to here.
That is correct.
I'm just stating the facts. If they're from Mars, then they're not Aboriginal, period. I mean, ain't no way around it.
Right.
And whoever else say that they're not from here, whether it's from Doggone, Sirius, or any other place you want to name, they're not Aboriginal. Period.
Indeed.
And all we hear about is their stories. That's all that's written. Everything that's written is about everybody who's from some goddamn place else. And they all having fun and just set up shop on our mama.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
If you're part of that bloodline, you have to accept responsibility and accountability for what's going on and what's about to happen. Now, what side that you're going to be on is up to you.
That's right.
I'm not passing judgment on nobody because I'm not the one that's going to take care of your ass if you're on the wrong side of shit. I'm just going to watch. So, I mean, you get your ass to out the frame. That's on you. I don't care what bloodline you from. It's what you're doing now that matters.
Yep.
Now, knowing about your bloodline let you know what curse you have to break. You don't have to remain a prisoner of what your ancestors did. But that comes with knowing and wanting to correct that, or whether or not you want to keep that bullshit going because your people were the colonizers. There's too many motherfuckers running around proud about having colonized.
Yep.
So, I mean, your actions and your willingness, in fact, your demands to be held by those contracts and treaties gonna seal your ass.
Yep.
That's on y'all. I'm gonna watch the shit. I got plenty of popcorn.
Indeed.
Not just for the political, not just for the corporate political fuck show, but all this shit. It's all a show to me. I'm telling y'all, I ain't really here.
All right. So we're going to get into the material before we were interrupted with some whack-ass, bullshit-ass beat. So we're in White Trash, the 400-Year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg. We're on page 117. We're in the Andrew Jackson stuff now. All right. As that particular brand of America, the lovable outcast, Crockett acquired a reputation for spinning outrageous tall tales. In a speech he purportedly delivered in Congress, but probably never did give in these exact words, he called himself the savage critter you ever did see. Endowed with superhuman powers, he could run like a fox, swim like an eel, yell like an Indian, and swallow a nigger whole. An absurd racist comment that was probably meant to convey his hostility towards great slave-owning planters who pushed poor squatters off their land. Okay. So that's interesting because we know what squatters meant. So the squatters started feeling that land was there. But that's interesting. But anyway, the real Crockett owned slaves himself. Yet in Congress, he opposed large planters' engrossment of vast tracts of land. He championed a bill that would have sold land directly from the federal government to squatters at low prices. He also opposed the practice of having courts hire out insolvent debtors to work off fees, an updated variation of indentured servitude. All right, y'all? So this is Crockett's ass. Okay? So isn't that Davy Crockett? The one that they claim as the motherfucking hero and all of that? Okay. All right, so here we go. Crockett spoke cracker frequently, as was demonstrated in the 1830 dictionary that gave him full credit for coining the phrase ring-tail roarer to describe a violent man. Crockett's boasting carried ambiguous class accents. In 1828, he claimed that he could wade the Mississippi with a steamboat on his back and whip his weight in wild cats. The one thing he said he couldn't do was give a standard speech in Congress, which felt odd to him, given that he otherwise believed he could whip any man in the House. He lacked the eloquence that was taught, the argumentative that was the argumentative that the educated class possessed. His humorous speeches gained public notoriety, but for many observers, he was the harlequin, provoking laughter. According to one newspaper, queer stories and quaint sayings turned Crockett into a dancing bear dressed up in a coat and breeches, performing a vulgar sideshow. So I'm going to pause right quick, take a sip of water. That ain't the Crockett that I remember them talking about and teaching about in history school.
Sure it is.
Yes, you had better teachers than me.
You know, you always got to look at the flip side of shit with them. If they tell you the motherfucker a hero, you know he was a nasty, vile motherfucker.
Right. Purple Pill says Davy Crockett was 33. Daniel Boone was 33. Touche. Duly well noted. All right. The real Crockett was often eclipsed by the tall tales of the untutored backwoodsman. An entire cottage industry of Crockett stories were published, there we go, y'all, that he never authorized. Davy Crockett's Almanac of 1837 contains a crude engraving of a corn cracker who appears unshaven, is dressed in buckskin, and holds a rifle in his hand. He is topped off with a grisly-looking coon skin cap, the animal's head still attached. And so she's saying, see page 121. And another engraving, Davy's daughter is mounted on a giant alligator's back, riding the 37-foot beast like a rodeo star. Whether he fights modern-day dragons or accomplishes magical feats in a surreal hinterland, Crockett's savage instincts seem appropriate to a mock chivalry epic. His ghost writers and hack biographers made Crockett into a wild man and an ill-educated braggart, and yet they equally relish his over-the-top swagger in outmaneuvering steamboat bears and slippery town folks. All right, so his boastfulness was never seen in purely heroic terms. He might jump higher and squat lower than all the fellows either side of the Allegheny Hills, but his comic character actually served to a mute, legitimate political voice. Representative Crockett may have compared speculators to sneaky coons in an 1824 speech before the Tennessee House, but he never lost sight of the legal ploys used to trick poorer settlers out of their land warrants. All right? So, white folk, I hope you're taking heed on what this woman has put together. She's clearly laying out for you with the fucking receipts that your ancestors were being fucking played. All right.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
When it comes to them and published history, published, lie pushed, his story is the lie that was pushed.
Right.
Wordplay.
Yep. Exactly. Sorry, Brother Sean, I was chatting real quick in the chat room. All right. Damn it.
I can't call this person a lady that played that music, but she can listen to what you say, and that they were worse than niggers in the eyes of the public. So that's what the history books, real history, says about them. So where does she come up calling people names? And another thing too,
who you talking about? The 714 that called in with the whack ass beat?
Yeah, and then too, the story, the analogy of his daughter on an alligator.
Yeah.
You know, it's cover of the book, what Christopher Columbus says he saw when he came to the Americas, was a man riding and a mermaid or something on an alligator.
Of course.
So it's all copy. It's all picked up from us, except for they made them their national heroes, because Davy Crockett, was part of the Alamo, they say. Davy Crockett. But
now it said, I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Tell everybody that they moved the borderies, and the ones that were killed in Indian territory and not on American soil like they claim for their so-called war against the Indians in Texas. They had changed the border. They acted like squatters that they were.
Now, interestingly enough, in some of the Moors information or people that's carrying that Moor title that come out of the quote temples was saying that I know Davy Crockett was one of them that they said was locked up over here in the Americas.
He was a criminal.
Exactly. So that he originally came over as a criminal. Absolutely. And some say that the same thing about George Washington too.
So was Daniel Boone, and they were squatters.
Yep.
They was trying to defend that fort. You can't just come on somebody else's land and then set up a damn fort and think ain't gonna be no consequences.
Yeah. And then the Ancestry.com gets up there with somebody who said, my ancestor was George Washington. I said to myself, because he was supposed to be a criminal. And I didn't know Daniel Boone and all those. Most of them were criminals anyway. That's why they got him.
Yeah, I did know that about, I heard that about Davy Crockett. I couldn't remember if it was said about Daniel Boone. And again, hey, that's okay for folks to send a shout out to who their particular ancestry is. I don't give a damn either way. But like I said, Caucasians, just like I'm getting on melanated folks, I'm saying to you, know the origins of what really happened. And more importantly, know your bloodline and who you are. All right. Damn it, I had it and I lost it again. Okay, here it is. In the end, the man, not the legend, did a better job of exposing class conflict in the backcountry, where real speculators were routinely pitted against real squatters. David Crockett was an avid backer of Andrew Jackson in the 1828 election, but soon enough abandoned the imperious general. Crockett's land bill made enemies back in Tennessee, and he disapproved of the Indian removal bill, which allowed for forced expulsion of the Cherokees or the Ananoians. and other civilized tribes. She didn't say Ananoians, I'm saying that. Civilized tribes from the southeastern states. Indian removal went along with the unfair treatment of squatters who were expelled from the public domain and were burned from securing land that they had settled and improved. Oh, shit, y'all. Wait a minute. Let me take a motherfucking sip of water. So, Crockett was against the Indian Removal Act, which I pulled some information on that, of course. We're going to get into that in a minute. Because the squatters was included in that as well. So in other words, I don't give a fuck what you built. Get the fuck on. You out of here right with these Indians. Or as whack-ass 716 said, niggers. Oh, that's interesting. Go ahead.
Didn't earlier in the book it was saying that the squatters were taken up, like in the swamp areas, were taken up land alongside the Indians and then turned on them?
Yes. Yes, because last week we talked about that. Remember, we said, oh, okay, so the squatters purposely, when they were running away from them indentured servant contracts, a.k.a. white slavery, going into the woods / swamps, they were setting up shop, and those, quote, quote, Indians were right next to them. So they was all chilling. The Indians didn't fuck with them. They did their motherfucking thing. The Indians did their motherfucking things. But as I said, when Andrew Jackson and them and the rest of them fucking founding fathers started wanting to come up for the white folks, all right, so they can keep their positions of power, they started cutting deals with some of those squatters. And some of the squatters turned on the indigenous Indians and started killing them. So, yes, very good point. All right, so, but now we see, as it always goes, that, and I done told Caucasian white folks, you think that they gave a fuck about you, they really didn't. Because that Indian Removal Act was also applied to squatters. They wanted them to fuck up off that land because, again, they wanted to generate the profit from the land because they had to make a profit and return it back to the crown. All right, so Jackson's allies responded to Crockett's defection by calling him unsavory and uneducated. Jackson had a lot of motherfucking nerves. Y'all see how people turn on each other? They'll do it in a fucking heartbeat. I just find it fascinating. It's the same Romanistic system of, or what they call over in India, a caste system based on class. So it's the same mind fucks that they use. Okay, so wait a minute. JBP goes, related to squatters, reported that the papal bull doctrine of discovery gave them the right to take any land they discovered, no matter who they found on the land. Well, that papal bull sure didn't save them from the Andrew Jackson and them passing that legislation to remove their ass off the land. So that's very interesting. All right. So Crockett accused Jackson of going back on his principles and refused to go along with the partisan dog pack. In 1831, he wrote that he would not wear a collar around my neck with my dog on it, and the name of Andrew Jackson on the collar. 3 years later, he made submission to party into an angry slur, saying he would rather belong to a nigger and be a raccoon dog as the partisan of any man. In Crockett's backcountry class hierarchy, okay, now I'm going to read that again. In Crockett's backcountry class hierarchy, which is absurd in itself, but to show you how people's mind can be conditioned. Because, motherfucker, you came from nothing. So now all of a sudden, you feel you above another group of people. It's the shit, black man, the dog, and then if his language was to be taken seriously, the party man. Democrat Andrew Jackson's stormy relationship with Crockett was replicated again and again with any number of contemporaries over the course of a career that was built on sheer will and utter impulse. Most of his loyal supporters eventually ended up on opposition side of the partisan divide, jumping the Whig Party. Okay, so hold up, YouTube. I see all of a sudden you all are, I just got a message. So throw up in the chat room for me, YouTube, if you all can still hear us. Because I just got an error that the stream is
90 seconds.
Buffering. So just throw up in the chat room and let me know if you all can't hear us. All right, so because Jackson had relatively little experience holding political offices, his run for the presidency, okay, we back to connecting, y'all. Because Jackson had relatively little experience holding political offices,
60 seconds.
His run for the presidency drew even more than the normal amount of attention to his personal character. A biography written for campaign purposes filled in the gaps in his generally combative resume. Rather, supporters portrayed him as the conquering hero, or his enemies labeled him King Andrew I, all focused on his volatile emotions. He certainly lacked the education and polite breeding of his presidential predecessors. So just as a refresher from last week on Andrew Jackson, and that's why the author named
10 seconds.
This particular chapter Andrew Jackson's Cracker Country, because he came from the particular squatters, all right, and he was gritty and raw. So any president up to that point, they, although some of them still were, came over under indentured contracts, but they wind up linking up with somebody of nobility status. So they upgraded their status in the European world. But Jackson truly came from the come up of the squatters. All right. So as an outsider to Washington, save for a brief, unproductive stint in Congress, his qualifications came from the field of war, where his record sparked heated criticism, all right? Because last week we told you that Jackson was pretty much put into play because he had the roughness, the rawness to kill the Indians because he came from that squatter world, all right? So his ardent backers claimed him as a spiritual successor to the sainted George Washington. But Jackson's origin lay far from the Potomac, beyond the Appalachian Mountains. Old Hickory had made his home in places where the population was thin and the law fungible. He was a slaveholding planter whose reputation suited him not in the halls of power, but among the common stock. In the Tennessee backcountry, where settlement came much later than it did on the East Coast, land owning and class station ostensibly had shallower roots. As one New England journalist wondered aloud during Jackson's first run for president in 1824, who precisely were these hardy sons of the West. In the popular imagination, Jackson was inseparable from a wild and often violent landscape. After his celebrated victory at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, he was identified as a green backwoodsman who had bested the invincible British foe. To another, he was Napoleon of the woods. His political rise came through violence, having slaughtered the Red Stick faction of the Creek Nations in the swamps of Alabama in 1813 through 1814, while leaving hundreds of British soldiers dead in the marshes of New Orleans in January 1815. Jackson bragged about the British death toll, as did American poets. One scrawled, carnage stalks wide or all the plain. And it was no exaggeration. Bodies floated in rivers and streams, and bones and vanquished were founded by travelers decades later. Okay, so I'm going to pause. We're going to pull the information, the supplemental mental information on Jackson's motherfucking funk ass with the Indian Removal Act, etc. So while I'm trying to pull that information up, Brother Sean or Sis, you all have anything you want to put on it? All right.
Yeah. Now, just seeing how they operate, what is it about that system that our people would even want to keep in place?
Exactly.
It's never been for our benefit.
Nope.
We, the people, aren't we? That's a fund, a trust fund, set up for a certain bloodline.
That's correct.
I don't care what face you put on the corporation. That face, that puppet, ain't getting that money. He ain't calling the shots. He doing what he told to do. Even to those that think that Trump came in there and just calling shots. No, the people behind him are calling the shots.
Yep.
If it wasn't people behind him, he'd have been dead by now. They had already said that they was going to kill him. They put it in The Simpsons, remember? Everybody was waiting for him to die. But obviously, he connected to a higher bloodline. Now,
right.
We know that any such real power and a higher bloodline has to be melanated.
Right.
You sit up being told how these people were nothing. There's still nothing to them. They're the ones succumbing to all these quote-unquote diseases, and they're succumbing to mama. They're the ones with no way out. Period. They trapped. The prison planet is for them. How our home gonna be a prison? I mean, we've been made prisoners of war.
Right.
But this war is already over.
It is.
It's been took care of on other ground.
Yes, it has.
We're just awaiting the manifestation of it. And while we're awaiting the manifestation of it, what you do determines where you're going to be. See, we sitting up listening to how they implemented paperwork, created a spell, and placed everybody up under it. And you continually volunteer for it. You give it energy, you give it life. All of your own free will. That's the best way. You go so hard for it. You put your everything into it. Your every waking moment is about being a slave. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You regurgitate everything that they say and incorporate it in your every moment.
Yep.
And it's all done with what the Moors taught them.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Who should your hostility really
be towards? Exactly.
They already done for. And you still concentrating on somebody that's done for. Somebody that's not a threat to you. In your
right. And never really had the power.
Exactly. So, even with what the Moors did, what are you doing to yourself with your thoughts?
Yes.
Still giving into it. It's all suggestions now. They write something down. They give it to you. It's either you accept it and bring it to life,
right,
or you reject it and let it die and be nothing but words on paper.
That's right.
I digress.
Indeed, Brother Sean. Okay, so I pulled some supplemental information. This is coming directly from Office of the Historian, history.state.gov. And this is the Indian Treaties and the Removal of 1830. Damn, I wish my guy 832 was in the house tonight. I know he would get a kick out of this. But anyhow, Indian Treaties and the Removal Act of 1830. All right. The U.S. government used treaties as one means to displace Indians from their tribal land, a mechanism that was strengthened with the Removal Act of 1830. In cases where this failed, the government sometimes violated both treaties and Supreme Court rulings to facilitate the spread of European Americans westward across the continent. Andrew Jackson. As the 19th century began, land-hungry Americans poured into the back country of the coastal South and began moving towards into what would later become the states of Alabama and Mississippi. Since Indian tribes living there appear to be the main obstacle to westward expansion, they want to say white settlers, okay, because this is one of the corporations / state gov's motherfucking website. White settlers, I say squatters, petitioned the federal government to remove them. Although President Thomas Jefferson and James Monroe argued that the Indian tribes in the Southeast should exchange their land for lands west of the Mississippi River, they did not take steps to make this happen. Indeed, the first major transfer of land occurred only as a result of war. In 1814, Major General Andrew Jackson led an expedition against the Creek Indians, climaxing in the Battle of Horseshoe Bend in present-day Alabama near the Georgia border, where Jackson's force soundly defeated the Creeks and destroyed their military power. He then forced upon the Indians a treaty whereby they surrendered to the United States over 21 million acres of their traditional land, about 1/2 present day of Alabama and 1/5 of Georgia. Over the next decade, Jackson led the way in the Indian removal campaign, helping to negotiate 9 of the 11 major treaties to remove Indians. So they have on here a picture of an Indian and William Weatherford surrendering to Andrew Jackson after the Battle of Horseshoe Bend. So remember, in White Trash, the 400 Year of Untold History, she told y'all that Jackson comes from those squatters, all right, and that he was rough and rugged, and he could get down with the get down to go up against those indigenous Indians, all right, AKA niggers, all right, since we want to be so accurate. Okay. Under this kind of pressure, Native American tribes, specifically the Creek, Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Choctaw, they say Choctaw, but it's Choctaw, realized that they could not defeat the Americans in war. The appetite of the settlers for land would not abate, so the Indians adopted a strategy of appeasement. They hoped that if they gave up a good deal of their land, they could keep at least some part of it. The Seminole tribe in Florida resisted in the Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842, and the Third Seminole War, 1855 to 1858. However, neither appeasement nor resistance worked. From a legal standpoint, the United States Constitution empowered Congress to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. In early treaties negotiated between the federal government and the Indian tribes, the latter typically acknowledged themselves to be under the protection of the United States of America and of no other sovereign whosoever. When Andrew Jackson became president in 1829, so he served from 1829 to 1837, he decided to build a systematic approach to Indian removal on the basis of these legal precedents. To achieve his purpose, Andrew Jackson encouraged Congress to adopt the Removal Act of 1830. All right, so remember, Crockett in White Trash, the 400-year untold history of class in America, Crockett was pissed because that Indian Removal Act also included getting the squatters, which were the white indentured servants that freed themselves off of that land as well. All right? Okay, so the act established a process whereby the president could grant land west of the Mississippi River to Indian tribes that agreed to give up their homeland. As incentives, the law allowed the Indians financial and material assistance to travel to their new locations and start new lives, and guaranteed that the Indians would live on their new property under the protection of the United States government forever. With the act in place, Jackson and his followers were free to pursue, bribe, and threaten tribes into signing removal treaties and leaving the Southeast. All right, so I find that interesting that as all of this motherfucking negotiation was supposedly and allegedly going on, because we do know that not all took the deal and went out west, so one could only conclude that those that didn't take the deal were enslaved. All right? All right, so anyway, in general terms, Jackson's government succeeded. By the end of his presidency, he had signed into law almost 70 removal treaties, the result of which was to move nearly 50,000 Eastern Indians to Indian Territory, defined as the region belonging to the United States west of the Mississippi River, but excluding the states of Missouri and Iowa, as well as the territory of Arkansas, and open millions of acres of rich land east of the Mississippi to white settlers. So I'm going to read that again. In general terms, Jackson's government succeeded. By the end of his presidency, he had signed into law almost 70 removal treaties, the result of which was to move nearly 50,000 Eastern Indians to the Indian Territory. All right, so they're going to try to tell me that all of the Indians took a deal, so it's only 50,000 Indians? That's what you trying to? Nah, bruh. That was the 50,000 that took that motherfucking deal. What happened to the rest? All right, so the territories again were defined as the region belonging to the United States west of the Mississippi River, but excluding the states of Missouri and Iowa, as well as the territory of Arkansas, and open millions of acres of rich land east of the Mississippi to white settlers, or white squatters, to be more accurate. Despite the vastness of the Indian Territory, the government intended that the Indians' destination would be a more confined area, which later became eastern Oklahoma. All right, so the Trail of Tears, Robert Lennox, 1942. The Cherokee Nation resisted, however, challenging in court the Georgia laws that restricted their freedom on tribal lands. In his 1831 ruling on Cherokee Nation versus the state of Georgia, Chief Justice John Marshall declared that the Indian Territory is admitted to compose a part of the United States and affirmed that the tribes were domestic dependent nations and their relation to the United States. I can't make this shit up, y'all. Pay attention to these next fucking words carefully. All right. John Marshall declared that the Indian Territory is admitted to compose a part of the United States and affirmed that the tribes were domestic dependent nations and their relation to the United States resembles that of a ward to his guardian. However, the following year, the Supreme Court reversed itself and ruled that the Indian tribes were indeed sovereign and immune from Georgia's laws. President Jackson nonetheless refused to heed the court's decision. He obtained the signature of a Cherokee chief agreeing to relocate in the Treaty of New Ecotah, which Congress ratified against protests of Daniel Webster and Henry Clay in 1835. The Cherokee signing party represented only a faction of the Cherokee, and the majority followed Principal Chief John Ross in a desperate attempt to hold on to their land. This attempt faltered. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Daniel Webster of Webster Dictionary.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And civilized tribe fighting in court during that time.
Yep.
Sound like more. Sounds like that. Fuck your paperwork. Sign this shit to be.
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering if I heard right. My mind was kind of divided for a minute. So when they marched those Cherokee to off the land, some of them who wouldn't go along with the treaty, did you say they went west?
No, I said the opposite. I was just pointing out logic that only 50,000 took the deal.
You know, because this is what I heard for people who went west, the Indians who did not take the deal, who did not go on to the treaty to become, like the ones they got now, sitting on government land, getting government money. Those people went west, and that's the ones who got the title, Negroes. Now, that's what I heard. So I didn't know if you said that.
No, I did not say that. Let's be clear. I did not say that, nor did I read that.
Yeah,
according to this, 50,000 took the deal. 50,000 of those Indians took the deal and was relocated to Oklahoma.
Right.
So my question was, where did the other millions go?
Well, from what I heard from our history, that the ones who did not take the deal went to Texas and to other states or countries at that time, and they became farmers, and they kept fighting them off the land. But that's what I heard.
Okay, so and that's all cool. I'm just going by what the article is saying. The state government article on the 1860 Indian Treaty, they said 50,000 took the deal and relocated to Oklahoma. Now, I'm going to say again, what happened to the other millions? They stayed on their lands and they were enslaved. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because some of my family took the deal. And some of us didn't take the deal and continued to fight them. Right. And since Cheryl goes, most Ananawian, a.k.a. Cherokees, opposed the new Ekahota Treaty, the Trail of Tears. Absolutely, sis. They opposed it. They didn't take the deal. So they were stuck in those territories as prisoners of war, a.k.a. slaves. So that today they're trying to convince us that a whole entire Native American population came from 50,000 folk. What the fuck happened to the millions? They became prisoners of war. Exactly. And that's where what Cochise and Geronimo and all those people came up from. All right. Now, the other thing to point out in this, Brother Sean, as Brother Sean pointed out, the protest of Daniel Webster and Henry Clay in 1835, the Cherokee Signing Party represented only a faction of the Cherokee, and the majority followed Principal Chief John Ross in a desperate attempt to hold on to their land. Now, I'm going to refresh you all's fucking memory. This is why we bring receipts on this show. And I don't give a fuck whose feelings are hurt. If your feelings get hurt from the truth, this is not the fucking place for you. It's just not. Now, let's get to this motherfucking Ross name. Who did I say has the name Ross? I keep bringing up this shit week after motherfucking week after motherfucking week until people can get these connections together. I'm going to go to the shit again until it starts sticking with y'all. The Negro Question, Part 6, the 13 Black Colonies, Lee Cummings, page 147. This is the ship manifest with the stewards on it. Harriet Tubman's people were on this particular ship manifest. John Stewart, William Henry Stewart, Catherine Stewart, Harriet Ann Stewart, William Henry Ross, Margaret Stewart, Anne Marie Stewart, Amelia Millie Hollis Stewart, Jane Stewart, Benjamin Ross, Moses Ross, George Ross, Robin Ben Ross, Henry Stewart, Catherine Kane Stewart, John Isaac Ross Stewart, the parents of Harriet Tubman, Benjamin Ross Stewart, Harry Ross Rita Stewart. I'm on page 147 in the book. I went back on the timeline and pulled up the list of the men, women, and children that Harriet Tubman Ross Stewart rescued from the South. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw the last name Ross and Stewart on the list of rescued people. Then I took a look at Harriet Tubman's parents' names, and I saw the names, Ross and Stewart. I immediately ran to the map and saw Ross and Stewart in the Highlands of Scotland. The Stewarts on the ship's manifest are black. The image of the Stuart kings are black. And the Stewarts that Harriet Tubman rescued from the South were black. All right? So I'm going to read this sentence a motherfucking again. I want you folks to be clear. The Cherokee signing party represented only a faction of the Cherokee, and the majority followed Principal Chief John Ross in a desperate attempt to hold on to their land. This attempt faltered in 1838 when, under the guns of the federal troops and Georgia State militia, the Cherokee tribes were forced to the dry plains across the Mississippi. The best evidence indicates that between 3,000 and 4,000 out of the 15,000 to 16,000 Cherokee died en route from the brutal conditions of the Trail of Tears. With the exception of a small number of Seminoles, still resisted removal in Florida by the 1840s from the Atlantic to the Mississippi, no Indian tribes resided in the America South. And, of course, they did again. They became prisoners of war. Okay, through a combination of coerced treaties and contravention of treaties and judicial determination, the United States government succeeded in paving the way for the westward expansion and the incorporation of the new territories as a part of the United States. Okay, so again, I pulled that off of a site called Office of Historian. This is the Indian Treaties and the Removal Act of 1830, okay? And I just also want to note that John Ross, that was the chief of the Cherokee that was trying to hold on to the land, we told y'all that those black British folk came over and married into the indigenous people's bloodline. We fucking told y'all that. We told you when you do your ancestry research, more than likely you're going to see a mixture on both sides. Part of your lineage coming from Europe, the other part indigenous to the land. I am speaking to melanated, aka blacks, aka niggas. All right? That same name, John Ross, shows up on the ship manifest as John Isaac Ross Stewart, tying back to the Stewart bloodline of King James, tying to Harriet Tubman Ross, who was freeing indigenous black niggas from the South. She was freeing her own bloodline. So yet again, proof that what the fuck we told you how it happened is how it happened. So, okay, I'll pause in case y'all want to put something on it before I go on.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, it's all about the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Again. And 1838, ain't they always talking about the Webster's dictionary?
Come on now. Tell it now.
And his name all up in all of that. So he was right there.
Exactly.
He saw the people himself. But relying on his description and everything and putting it into paperwork. That's still all part of their shit. The fact that this guy would all of a sudden become the author of the English dictionary shows you that he was of a royal bloodline. And he was well versed in the arts of sorcery and quote unquote magic. He was an occultist. So, my esoteric people, that's an esoteric book right there.
Indeed.
You all run around looking for all this other hidden stuff. And that's a book you ain't mastered right there.
Right.
It's given to you freely. But you'll sit up and pay all this money or pay people for esoteric knowledge. When it's you. It's mainly knowing and encompassing all aspects of self.
Yep.
Now, if you're following some secret society's teaching and you're not the author of that spell, I don't care how powerful you think you become. The creator of that is always going to be feeding off of you.
That's right.
So they want you to become powerful. They give you your little positions. Let you drain energy from other beings. And then they take it from you. You're still not creating. You're participating in someone else's creation.
That's right.
And that's the same thing with this colonial system. This world of commerce and paper. You don't understand the paperwork. You don't understand the spell. So you get fucked.
Yep.
You listen to somebody on YouTube or pay somebody to put you together a packet. You don't really understand what's being presented.
Yep.
You send it to them, and you're fucked. I mean, you don't see the fucker again. They tell you how they fuck each other. They're constantly at war, having power struggles to stay in control, to stay in power. They're even divided. They have separate parties. And then they have parties within those parties.
That's right.
And they stab each other in the back constantly. As you're seeing, they talk about each other, but then smile in each other's face. But soon as one of them wants the corporate president position, they dishing every bit of dirt that they know on each other.
You better believe it.
And these are the type of people that you want to lead you.
Exactly.
All of this history is telling you how they colonized us.
Yep.
It's nothing to be glorified or to take pride in.
That's right.
Learn from this. Don't be absorbed by it. Learn your enemy. Learn the way that they operate. But keep in mind who your true enemy is. His creator, his teacher, his benefactor.
Indeed.
They're the ones profiting from all this. You hear the Moors being acknowledged worldwide now. Quote unquote, white folks want to return to being Moors. They were Moorish subjects.
Right.
But they were Moorish citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you have to let them return to what they were. It's only right.
Right.
But people don't want to do that. They want to keep them on the throne. They want to be led by them, even though they're being led nowhere.
Yep.
It's just strange how a people's entire history that we've been taught is conquest, carnage, dysfunctionality,
Mm-hmm.
fear. And this is what y'all want. You don't want you and what you're capable of. You overlook your greatness that is written about and cling to every negative, low vibrational place that they put you in with the stroke of a pen.
Yep.
Majority of the horrors that they have written about, they were never powerful enough to inflict upon us.
Mm-hmm.
But they created a narrative and gave you published items to corrupt your mind, and you bought into it.
Mm-hmm.
You the only one powerful enough to truly enslave yourself. They can't enslave you. You do it. They wrote shit down. You thought about it, gave it power, and now you're a prisoner to it. Because they wrote it down, you feel as though, hey, that's the way things is. It's written down. I got to do it. I ain't got no choice. I got to do it.
Right.
So you become subjected to it because you choose to. That's all a lie is a suggestion. You don't have to believe it because they write it down. That's up to you whether or not you believe it. You give it life. You give it power because you believe it. But you dismiss the truth easily.
Easily.
But a lot of you struggle with that. You struggle with it. You just, is it a lie? It sounds like the truth, but I'm not dismissing it, so it can't be the truth. Considering it's a lie, it got to be better than the truth, so.
Right.
And now you all fucked up.
And it's interesting, Brother Sean, because I am in the mindset now that the highest vibration is truth. It's the highest vibration. It's truth.
It exists no matter
and what. Most, exactly, and they don't give a fuck what you feel, all of this, all of that, how many temper tantrums you throw. I am convinced that's the highest vibration, truth. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to fucking prevail. So you don't have to accept it, none of that. It is the winner, and it will be the winner.
It's a state of being.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
And truth is also love.
Yes.
Because if you love wholly, if your love is on the whole, that means your state of being is truthful.
Indeed.
When you truly love yourself, you don't lie to yourself. You don't accept lies. You don't exist in or around those lower frequencies.
Indeed.
Because you love yourself enough to be true to yourself.
Indeed. Indeed. So, real quick, because y'all throwing it down in the chat room as usual. I had to scroll all the way the fuck back up. Purple Pill goes, Seminoles are still known to this very day as unconquered. Sis Cheryl goes, in 1827, the Cherokee adopted a written constitution declaring themselves to be a sovereign nation. And then KW goes, and the Black Europeans took on the indigenous land heritage. My lineage goes to Scotland, have same grandfathers, are King James, and I found some mess going on. Absolutely, KW. And those are the truths that melanated folks need to face. When you start researching that motherfucking heritage and you see that shit go back to Europe on one side, it shocks the shit out you. Been there, done that. Definitely shocks the shit out you. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to bury your head in the motherfucking sand? Oh, no, I got the wrong. Oh, shit, I must have fucked up somewhere in research. This, that, and the third. No, that was the white enslavers that brought my people. Oh, okay. Okay, you keep fucking on rolling with that. Keep on rolling with it then, goddamn. You're not ready to live in the truth. Okay? So, very, very good thing. I see a couple folks in the chat room talking about their surnames and how they know that it ties back to Europe. And then I know Purple Pill, you put on here, I'm trying to remember what you said. I can't find it. But I think you said Scott equals scorched or black. Okay? So black land, scorched land, Scott land, black land. Just like we told you, dub land, it's black land. So very, very good drop, family. All right, so we got about 9 minutes. Shit, y'all. We gonna pick back up on next week on Jackson's motherfucking ass. I knew it was gonna take us a couple shows to get through his stuff, because I had to bring in the supplemental material as well. Sis Sandra, you have any last words for the family?
Just that it was a great show as usual. There was a lot of things that was said that I learned from too. So I appreciate everybody's input on everything, and those papers there make you want to holler and throw up both your hands. But we just know who we are, and maybe we can deal with what our ancestors did to put us where we are.
Exactly. And that's supposed to be our purpose, especially those of us, which I'm willing to bet most of us are mixed with European bloodline from a melanated perspective and indigenous to the Americas. You're supposed to be cleaning that shit up. You can only do that by the truth. Purple pill goes Scott equals scorched, i.e. copper and bronze. Absolutely purple pill. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Well, we have 2 sets of relatives on each side of us. So that's 4 people we got to deal with, and each person comes from a different branch or something. So, it's a possibility. Yeah, great possibility.
Yeah, that's why you have to research it. Absolutely. You're supposed to know who you are, not what somebody tell you. You're supposed to know who you are. And then the last thing, says Cheryl goes, in the 1810s, there were 20 boats on the river. By the 1830s, there were more than 1,200. Yet Indians walked with horses and buggies west of the Mississippi. Exactly, says Cheryl. We know that it's pure bullshit. Pure bullshit. All right, Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah. Don't be ashamed of what you find out in your search of self.
Absolutely.
That's part of your DNA. As far as for what codes you block or unlock, it's up to you. You don't have to accept the fuckery that your ancestors may have participated in.
Absolutely.
You can break that cycle, but you have to know who you are.
That's right.
Period. Ain't no shame in who your ancestors are. The only shame comes in you not knowing and fulfilling your purpose for being.
That's right. That's right.
Love y'all, family.
Yes, love you very much, family. We're going to be back next week. We're going to finish up Andrew Jackson, go in a little bit more on the supplement material to give a true picture of him. So love you very much to my YouTube family. I'm glad it finally got figured out so we can rock with each other live and chat it up in the chat room. So I'm going to rock out with some music. So because of copyright issues, I got to end the YouTube stream. So if you want to play the YouTube song that I'm going to play, I'm going to do Erykah Badu's Master Teacher. So I love you all very, very much. Don't be ashamed of your heritage. You're here for a purpose, to right the wrongs And we can only do that by operating in truth. By operating in truth, you are operating in love. So hold your motherfucking head up and get it cracking and clean up you and yours so we could help mothers speed this motherfucking shit up and keep raising the frequency. So love you all very much, YouTube. Peace and love.